Alright, so what do you think the odds of this actually being a Wizard 101 lecture is?
I mean, last time we were doing Wizard 101, it was the fucking witness, so...
I feel like he's gonna put a spin on it. It's like the Spiral, but from Gurren Lagann.
And where the hell is the professor? Is he doing some magical stuff?
Magic! Poosh! Poosh!
Oh.
Ice magic! Poosh!
Oh.
Motherfucker.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Wizard 101 101. For real this time, guys. Trust me. I know I beated you that last time. This is real.
Prove it.
Okay, I gotta start talking about Wizard 101.
Yes,
So I'm 8, right? And I have like, I go to this elementary school where everyone hates each other, and so friendship is really hard to come by. And what's even worse is that we live so far away, we can't just hang out whenever we want to, so we have to have something to do. There's no like Skype at this time, so we have to call each other on our actual phones to communicate.
You!
And so what we decided to do is we decided to play Wizard 101 together and just play the free stuff that was in it repeatedly forever. And that's what I did for my entire childhood.
So like proto-social media?
I did not know Roblox existed. Question?
Proto-social media?
I didn't have social media. I wasn't allowed to have an email or anything.
But like that's kind of how y'all were.
Email to make a Wizard 101 account, though.
No,
I used my mom's.
I was about to ask.
Alright, so now when I first wanted to do a Wizard 101 lecture, I was just going to talk about, ooh, I played this game as a child. It was so silly, ha 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 ha. Cyclops, woo. And I didn't really know what to do with that exactly, so I kind of like put it aside, and then that's why I did the whole witness thing, because I got more interested in that. And then I decided, you know, I'm going to have to do a Wizard 101 lecture eventually, so I'm going to look at the lore to see something I can talk about. Maybe there's something interesting there. I know we joke about, like, the lore is insane in Club Penguin, right? We make this joke all the fucking time with, guys, you won't believe the Roblox lore. Like, holy shit, the Roblox JoJo lore goes deep. I am not kidding when I said I thought this would be, like, a funny child haha game, and I wouldn't have to memorize all of these places. I did not think this would be this deep. But it's fucking deep, and we're gonna talk about, like, God's nightmares destroying the world, and, like, fucking colonialism, and several apocalypses happen, with other people still wanting to do more apocalypses. Armageddon, some guy becomes a world at some point. That was recent, by the way. That happened last month.
Oh, so this is ongoing.
This is still going. They make updates every year. The most recent update was Novus, which we'll get to.
Who the hell is still playing Wizard 101?
That's what I want to fuck.
People that were 8 when the game came out, and it's still like fun for them, and friends of theirs who they convinced to play with them. So me and you guys, when I convinced you to play.
I'll have you know that I was playing Wizard 101 without your assistance.
Well, congratulations. Welcome to the club. Yeah. So, before we can get to any of fucking this, we gotta know what the fuck Wizard 101 is. So, I'm already getting winded. Alright. Straight up, going to explain real quick that before we can get to, like, the beginning lore of this world, in 2008, there was a side quest, like, when the game first came out, that I played, because I played this game when it first came out. There was a side quest called Old Men, and it was basically you talking to old people, and they would explain, like, the history of the world or whatever. And in that side quest, there was an allusion to an overall creator, like a god of Wizard 101. That side quest has since been removed, and all of that is no longer canon. I am pointing this out because... Yeah, they retcon the fact that God exists, basically. So, there isn't a god, it's more polytheistic. There are 3 gods, and that is Grandfather Tree, aka Bartleby, who you guys might remember
I
from...
love Bartleby.
Bartleby's kind of a Chad for real. We got Bartleby's sister, Grandmother Raven, who's a raven. I think that's easy to memorize. We're going to say Bartleby, we're going to call Grandmother Raven, Raven, and then Raven's lover, Grandfather Spider, who we're just going to call Spider. And Raven and Spider, lovers, as I mentioned, they're going through a romance, they're flying around the place, and they love each other. And this keeps going on, and they are just living off in what exists of the world right now. It's called the First World. And while this is happening, Spire eventually has a prophecy. He gets a vision of the future and writes it into a poem for Raven. And the poem goes, "Sky and land are danced as one. Round the tree of magic shade, 1,000 years, 1,000 more, memories of love and fury fade. Raven and Spire played across the sky and battled throughout the land. Spider fell into the deepest hole, locked away by Raven's hand. Spider roared and thrashed against the heavens, and finally fell into a sleep. His dreams made twisted shadow things, sowing chaos to one day reap. The candle flickers across the night, a child sailing in the shadow sea. The spiral bends and twists and whirs, bringing chosen back to me. The mirror will break, the horn will call. From the shadows I strike, and the skies will fall. The shadow web hums and stretches beyond the stars, touching all the spiral with Spider's welcoming arms." So this doesn't make sense to Raven at fucking all, because what the fuck is the spiral, right? There's just the world, and shadow things, I don't know what that's happening, but whatever. Kind of weird. I'm not trusting you. But they go along, they're having their little feud, they're loving each other, and they have kids, right? And those kids become the Titans. And that is the Dragon Titan, who is like lives on the land and breathes fire and is fiery everywhere. We have the Ice Titans, who are the Frost Giants. And the Frost Giants live in the sky building giant ice towers.
Okay, so it's reverse Greek mythology. The gods birth the Titans.
The gods birth the Titans, yes.
Okay.
So we have the dragon, the Fire Titans, who are dragons. We have the Ice Titans, who are Frost Giants, like in Valkyrie lore, I forgot. What that shit was? Norse mythology. Valkyrie lore. I'm just trying to remember.
The Thor source material.
Norse, yeah, whatever. And then we have the Storm Titans, aka the Tritons, who are just fish people. They live in the sea, and they're fucking around. They're doing their shit. The Ice Titans are making like towers. The Frost Giants are making towers. Dragons are living on land, spewing fire all over it. Look, fire's so cool.
And why did we make these again?
They're their kids. They love each other. They had kids.
Got it.
And so, eventually Raven, I guess I got this out of order because this is where the prophecy comes in that Raven reads. And after they had kids, Raven's like, okay, fuck this. That's weird. That's weird as shit. And locks Spider in a deep So, like, I don't trust you. It sounds like you're trying to destroy the world or something. Not fucking with it.
Wait, these people were in love, right?
They were in love.
All it takes is one weird poem, and she's like, fuck this, I'm locking you in a...
Yeah, well, you're trying to destroy the world or something? Fuck you. Go in the deepest hole. Literally, like, the deepest hole in the world. Like, you're trapped there now. And Spider's in the deepest hole, and he's trying to... He doesn't fuck with that. He's trying to claw his way out. Like, let me fuck out. I don't want to fucking be in the deepest hole.
Why can't he climb? What's wrong? What's special about this hole?
It's the deepest hole. Okay. It's like a black... It's basically black nothingness. I don't even know if there are walls here. But he's trapped here, essentially. He's trying to get out. He can't get out.
This poor fucking Spider.
Yeah, he's trying to get out, he can't get out, and as he's trying to climb out of this hole, he like falls unconscious, he uses up all his energy, and he goes to sleep. And his sleep turns into nightmares, and those nightmares wreak havoc on the Titans. The Ice Titans start stealing water from the Tritons, the Frost Giants start stealing water from the Tritons to make their ice towers. The Tritons aren't fucking with that. They're starting to make storms all over the land where the dragons live. The dragons aren't fucking with that. The dragons are melting the Ice Titans, the Frost Giants, I keep getting them mixed up, Frost Giants towers, trying to melt that shit down. The Frost Giants aren't fucking with that. They're all at war with each other right now. That's bad, and it's so bad that it destroys everything. The world is fucking done. It's in shatters now.
Oh, man.
And the only way to save it is to try and, like, sort of tie it back together. And so Bartleby comes up with this idea. He sings the Song of Creation. And the Song of Creation basically ties the world back together in a spiral shape. It's basically like threads all the worlds together in a sort of way so they don't just start drifting off. Sort of like how we live in like a solar system and we have like gravity that connects us to the sun and we need the sun to live. The spiral sort of works like that. It provides sustenance for life on all the worlds, and it keeps them from just floating off into nothing.
Wait, that's kind of sick.
I mean, yeah.
The fact that the song is what spawns cosmic order.
Yeah, the Song of Creation that Bartleby sings. And Grandmother Raven decides to do her part, and to power the spiral, she gets like a power source and puts it in the center of the spiral, which is Imperia, right here. So she puts like this source of power in the center of the spiral to power the whole thing. Bartleby, Song of Creation, connects it all together, and finally they sing the Titanic Lullaby as punishment for the Titans for going at war, and the Titanic Lullaby basically puts them all to sleep. So they're in a permanent sleep right now. And that's the creation of the spiral. That's what all these worlds exist. All of them are fragments of the first world, and that's where they're all connected. And we start... Woo! That's...
Spiral!
Woo, the
If we Final
spiral!
Fantasy copied this, bro. What the hell?
And they have to be separated because if they were one, they'd go to war.
Well, they just have been separated. The Titans are asleep. They won't do anything anymore.
Okay, gotcha.
The Titans, by the way, had kids, and those kids had kids, and we don't need to get into that. But basically, the new life on the spiral are the offspring of the Titans, right? Those people sort of go off, do their own thing, separated from each other on all these different worlds. And we have some different things that open up. One thing that happens is the start of a school, a university, a college of sorts called the Arcanum. And the Arcanum is basically the first school to try and study the spiral. And they figure out different things, like there's magic. Magic is real. They figure that shit out. And we'll get to how the magic works here, but basically it goes based off of the three Titans. You have the Fire Titans, the Dragons, the Ice Titans, the Frost Giants, and the Storm Titans, the Tritons. And we'll get more into that, but those are basically the three elements of magic. The Arcanum forms based around these three types of magic, and they're trying to figure out where the spiral came from, because this is all a mystery. Everything I said before this is technically hearsay. This is what we know based off of what Bartleby and Raven and Spider have told us about the creation of the world. And so they're trying to study, and they eventually figure out that the spiral used to be one whole continent called the First World. They figure this out. And some people in the Arcanum, specifically this character called the Old One, decides that, hey, we should try and reform the First World. That would be cool, right, guys? And everyone's like, I'm not sure about that.
Have you considered the implications?
They have not considered the implications. And this is known as the Great Schism. Basically, the Arcanum separates. One half of the Arcanum turns to trying to recreate the First World, and they leave. And
Why do they want the First World back?
This is literally the plot of 14.
They copied this, Ed. I don't know what to tell you.
So I guess we don't need a Final Fantasy 14 lecture anymore?
The Final Fantasy 14 lecture.
You know what's absolutely awful is that when I do the Miscellaneous Monsters lecture, it's just going to be this again.
But wait, why do they want the First World back?
Because it's like, this is how the world was supposed to be. This is the natural order of things, and it's for some reason isn't this way. They're basically like anarcho-naturalists, I guess. Not anarcho-naturalists, but like primitivists, I guess.
Quest to bring back Utopia.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
quest to bring back nature, return a monkey, basically.
Got it.
This, again, led by the Old One, if you recall, and the Old One is so shunned by the Arcanum that they just lock his fucking... what is it? An office. They lock his office up. Like, everything that's in his office just gets locked the fuck up. Like, they just close the door permanently, weld it shut, magic on the door so it can't be unwelded.
You know, they could have just, like, burnt it. It's kind of immediately what I thought.
Yeah, but they just lock away all his shit, because he's, like, abandoned. And in fear of the fact that the First World might reform and just end all life, they decide to reshape. They decide to sort of retrofit the college to also be an escape boat, essentially. So it becomes like a flying, like, blimp of sorts.
Oh.
So if the First World was ever recreated, and the world ended, they could escape on the boat and be safe.
Okay.
So this also gets known as the Arcanum because it's dark.
Word for bar. This shit is ridiculous.
I can't believe Final Fantasy ripped off Wizard 101.
Oh my god.
Damn. In other news, there's this place called Spire, right? And You might have noticed this. This is Dragon Spire. Say hi to Dragon
They
Spire.
even got their own dragon.
Dragon Spire.
So, in Dragon Spire, basically it's the land where the dragons used to live in before the creation of the spiral. And right now that's a problem because drakes, the children of dragons live there, and humans live there, and they're at war with each other.
No!
Drakes are fighting humans. It's all terrible. There's like a bunch of like kings that are going on during this. And I believe it's King Mene that finally tames a black drake and is able to bring peace between drakes and humans.
By taming them?
By taming them. So they're kind of treated as barbaristic and animalistic and evil. They're not looked very nicely upon by society. Question.
So are dragons not intelligent in this universe?
Dragons are not intelligent as is, they're just like titans that destroy shit and like build on, but drakes are. Drakes can speak, they're the children of the dragons basically, and they know all this shit is going on.
God, bro.
So they're just like second class citizens basically.
Oh my god!
What does
Wait,
King Melanoe look like?
What?
What is King Minoe or Melanoe?
We don't know. This whole King Mene thing is just assumingly he's white.
Yeah, this guy seems to be manifesting a bit of destiny.
he is doing a little bit of that.
He's
But
carrying a
basically-
very large burden. A specific type of man's burden, you know?
Wait, let me guess. Are there other sort of second-class citizens races that pop up in this series? And then later on, as the story develops, people go, this is kind of fucked up. And they stop doing that?
Oh, that last part doesn't happen.
Oh my god!
Manifest
So there's
destiny
just-
within the
So
spire.
Final Fantasy XIV is better than that.
Well,
Yes.
this was made in 2008. We were at a different point in our country.
Oh my god!
Yeah, 2008. I remember that because there was still slavery.
Well, I don't mean to alarm you, Adonis, but in the elections, slavery was on the ballot this year.
Wait.
Yeah, there were like things of like illegalized slavery on the ballot. Like, should we make slavery illegal? Because slavery is still technically legal in some states.
Yeah, because they were
Prisoners,
arguing.
Prison
that-
labor, yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Okay, so back
Wait,
to
that's
Dragon's
Maryland. We have prison labor here, don't we?
I think so, yeah. But anyways, back to Dragonspire. They tamed the drakes, and all is well.
Damn.
And there's a bunch of other monarchies that start and fall. One king accidentally starts a plague, King Rydell, and it kills a bunch of people. And the only reason it stops is because this one guy who decides to study magic just does magic and stops the plague. And people are like, hey, magic, guys? And they start Dragonspire Academy for studying the magic arts. And it's led by the dean of Dragonspire Academy is this guy called Vladimir Darkflame.
He sounds trustworthy.
I trust them.
And one of the teachers at Dragonspire is this guy called Vladin Drake, part of the Drake family, who's human and not Drake.
Oh, so they're drakes.
They're human.
They're drakes.
This isn't a twist. They are human. I'm just trying to make it not confusing because there are creatures called drakes, and then there's a family known as the Drake family. So there's a family of humans called the Drake family, and then there are just drakes. You understand? Clear?
Yes.
This
Okay.
last thing is brown.
So this college is going on, and Vladimir Darkflame is leading it, and then he just gets mad for some fucking reason. Like, hey, what the fuck's going on? Why don't you guys respect me enough? And they're like, what the fuck are you talking about? And
This
he's like-
sounds like your average college dean.
And so like the dean of Dragonspire. Dean of Dragonspire is like, okay, well, what if I just fucking woke up the Dragon Titan? What if I just fucking woke up the dragon in Dragonspire?
Woke up
and everyone's like,
violence.
and everyone's like, don't do that. No. And so he runs into his office, and then he does magic to awaken the Dragon Titan.
Bitch.
basically a genocide happens, and all of Dragonspire is being attacked by a dragon, and people are like screaming and running and trying to get out, and they're like, oh fuck, I gotta get out of Dragonspire, and they're like trying to leave, but then they also realize that if they don't lock up Dragonspire, the dragon's going to leave and destroy everything in the world, so they lock up Dragonspire, and some people are left inside screaming and dying.
Oh.
Cool.
And that's Dragonspire, everybody.
Hell yeah!
That's why this exists. That's the dragon, awakened Dragonspire, destroying the world.
No!
But eventually, Bartleby gets word of what's going on over here, and he puts the Dragon Titan back to sleep.
I'm sensing a pattern in medicine stories.
Hey, awful news. Terrible news.
Alright, cut to Avalon. Avalon is basically like Arthurian legend, like Merlin world.
Figured.
Yeah.
I know.
You gotta stop eating his feet!
Stop eating his Ludo, stop eating his feet!
Ludo, please.
leave your brother alone.
Don't eat him.
Don't eat him.
You can't
His
eat
name
him.
is Toast. He doesn't.
So,
no.
We're gonna have to credit these boys as audience members.
They're terrible audience members.
Ludo. Hey.
Ludo, pay attention. Come on, this is gonna be on the test.
Yeah.
So,
Ludo.
Pat on the couch and he might sit down with you.
Yeah, let me move my shit first.
Anyways, in Avalon, hi.
Come party.
Anyways, in Avalon, magic is frowned upon. Like, what the fuck? You need to use magic to get shit done? I use swords and fight people. You're kind of a pussy, you know? And in Avalon, there's a kid named Merle Ambrose who was born, right? And Merle Ambrose is discovered to be very good with magic. Like, he's a prodigy. A prodigy? A prodigy of magic. A Prada of magic.
Magic.
But magic's illegal, so he can't really practice his magical arts unless in private. Because he finds this place called Weirwood, where there's a bunch of frondlings and a bunch of fairies that live there. Frondlings.
Throw words at
I actually don't know what frondlings.
So Fairy Society coexists with this anti-magic society on Avalon.
They're like, they live in the woods in
It's
secret.
like fronds,
Got it.
like fronds and leaves.
Okay, anyways. Avalon, fairies, he's practicing with fairies and frondlings to learn magic, basically, and he gets really good at it. So good, in fact, that he saves this bear named Artorias. And Artorias turns out to become the king later, and Merle Ambrose is like his second-hand man.
Wait, the bear?
The bear Artorias becomes the king of Avalon.
Okay.
And basically, I think he just like stops, hey, magic is cool now, guys, you don't have to worry about it. And so, magic's cool now in Avalon, and Merle Ambrose is hanging out here, and then one day King Artorias gets in a fight with his rival, like Mallory, and Mallory beats Artorias very badly, and Ambrose decides to leave. Sort of leaves his homie behind.
As one does.
Yeah. And so he leaves Avalon altogether to explore the rest of the spiral, and as he's exploring all these other worlds, because I don't even know if Avalon knew there were other worlds, he's going on exploring like the universe, and he finds Bartleby, like the god Bartleby.
Fuck this shit, I'm just gonna go
really
meet
hit it
God.
off pretty well. They're like having good conversations. They're liking each other's company, and so they decide to get together to start Wizard City. And Wizard City is a place of all things magic. So much, in fact, that they decide to start a school called Ravenwood Academy for the magical arts. Let's go, everybody! Woo! Ravenwood,
Ravenwood alumni, let's fucking go!
Ravenwood! So,
Like two motherfuckers that care.
in Ravenwood, they teach the traditional theory of magic, which is that there are three elements in the world: fire, which represents passion and emotion; ice, which represents patience and and storm, which represents creativity and inspiration.
the three humans.
And you think you're an ice type out of these three, Roland?
No, he thinks he's a myth wizard.
We'll get to myth, but yes. Anyways, fire magic is just the energy of, as we talked about, the energy of the dragons, ice, the energy of the frost giants, storm, the energy of the tritons. But it's discovered, and it's debated how this works exactly, but the main explanation is that if you combine these two, like if you combine fire and storm type, if you combine fire and storm magic, you get what is known as life magic.
Ooh. Ooh.
I've played alchemy on my Kindle. I know this.
So, life magic is actually first discovered when before Merle Ambrose went to find Bartleby. Bartleby was found by a bunch of, like, hippies, basically, and Bartleby teaches them about the importance of nature and planting trees and stuff, and they love him so much that they start developing this type of magic. This is known as theurgy. By the way, pyromancy, thaumaturgy, divinity. This is theurgy, and basically it's plant magic, and you can do plant stuff now. Meanwhile, nobody knows where this happens. It's assumed it happens in Avalon, but there's this guy called Jack Stanley Kane. And he's a bard, and he's playing a song called Ode to a Troll. And as he's playing this song, he gets so inspired, his detail is so immaculate that people can imagine and see this troll for real. And because of that, the troll just exists now.
That's so cool!
Where it comes from.
This is myth magic. Myth magic, everybody.
Whoa!
So, myth magic is not only, like, literally being a bard, but it is quite literally willing things into existence.
Yes. Myth wizards are conjurers. So, like in Nen, you conjure shit. Myth wizards can also just conjure shit from nothing.
Myth is so cool. What the fuck?
Yeah, it is!
And that's why that's you?
Well, because, okay, life represents, like, kindness, and myth represents, what was it? Shit. It wasn't inspiration, it was imagination. Myth represents imagination. And I'm a very imaginative guy, you know? So, thank you. Myth magic, right? Or conjuring. Finally, there's, like, no one knows where this happens to, but basically a bunch of, like, people start figuring out how to steal people's life force. And so they're like, okay, this is really cool, guys, watch this. And then they start bringing the dead back to life by putting life force in them. And everyone's like...
It's a necromancy?
Necromancy, basically. And people are like, that's cool and all, but corpses are icky, so...
Have you considered the implications?
Have you considered the implications? And so, necromancers essentially become, like, frowned upon in all society because they're getting seen as plague bearers because the corpses come into the world and then they start bringing diseases to normal people.
I mean, fair enough.
And necromancers don't like the reputation they got, so they decide to start fucking shit up. Like, there's this whole cult of druids who decided that they're going to, like, make banshees, and these banshees are going to yell so loud that it will undo the Song of Creation.
Jesus Christ. Don't chill out.
So, obviously, this doesn't go very well, and Bartleby punishes them by making them mute and locking them in a room for all eternity.
So much of you, banshees.
No, not the banshees, the people.
Oh, the people.
Bartleby does a lot of putting things away for later.
You should know
That's what I'm
The
saying.
gods in general do a lot of putting things away for later.
No,
Just
what's
start
that?
killing motherfuckers.
No, what's that dude from Star Wars? The writer is like, it's like a mystery box or something.
Oh, JJ fucking
Yeah,
Abrams.
he's taking like the J.J. Abrams approach.
We're gonna put this in the mystery box. So that's death magic. And death magic represents, like, inevitability and, like, accepting what will happen. Like fate, you can't change it, you might as well go with it. So these are the 6 main magic schools of Ravenwood, except there's still one other school that kind of defies traditional magic theory but gets incorporated into it. Because if you combine storm, fire, and ice magic, you get what's known as balance magic, which is like all things, like incorporating all of them into one. This magic type gets discovered in Krokotopia, which is like Egypt basically in this world. And they don't go into balance magic at all. It's just like, if you combine them all, you get like a neutral magic. Ooh. And it basically represents like acceptance and like, what was it, like
Neutrality.
not neutrality, but like, hey, I think you're cool. I'm okay with you. Like that kind of shit. Like, I don't remember the word, but like acceptance, like kindness, equality, not equality, yes, but also like tolerance. Thank you. Tolerance, represented by this, and that's the schools of magic. Woo!
Yeah, that's not a bad magic system.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It is.
It is what it is. So, anyways, this happens, and we have teachers. So, fire magic is being taught by Dahlia Familia, which people are horny for some reason.
Why?
Like in real life?
Why?
Wait, you?
Listen.
No! Shut up to Mary.
Her and Madame Wu.
Yeah, I would say Madame Wu is the hottest Wizard 101 teacher.
Linda Wu.
Yeah, the cow lady.
The cow.
How do you spell
Shut
the
the
first
fuck
lady's
up.
name?
Okay, what?
How do you spell the lady who's teaching the fire magic?
Dolly. Now that we're done playing Smash or Pass with the entire Wizard 101 character rush, with the trees and everything, Ice is being taught by Lydia Greyrose, who's a fairy girl, like half human, half fairy kind of
She
thing.
looks like Merryweather, but plus a couple more years.
Sure, yeah. Storm is being taught by Hailstrom Bailstrom, who's a frog. My guy.
This fucking name.
Life is being taught by Sylvia Drake. Myth is being taught by Cyrus Drake. And Death is being taught by Malistair Drake. Now see, Sylvia and Malistair are married. And that's why Sylvia has the last name. And then
Okay,
Malistair
good.
and Cyrus are brothers. So last time this happened, things went bad, right?
Yuck.
Yuck. So it turns out Sylvia gets a disease and dies. And no one knows how this happened or what the fuck happened. But, Malistair, who's a necromancer and is known for being a plague bearer, doesn't take this very well. And so he starts thinking of ways to bring her back to life. Like, I can't, like, first of all, I want to be married. I like being married. I like my wife, right? I love my wife. My wife and I get along very well. But also, like, it's kind of weird that she died of a disease while being married to the death teacher. So...
Red herring?
Red herring. I don't want to be, like, associated with this, right? So he starts thinking of ways of bringing her back to life. He's a necromancer. He does that. That's his thing. And so he does this. He brings back Sylvia Drake. She's a level 7 Wraith now. She has... So as you can see, this did not go over very well. Basically, if you've gotten that far in the game, the ghoul spell?
Yeah.
Like where you summon a ghoul that hits you with a shovel? Basically, he did that to Lydia. He made Lydia like a ghoul, but it was like a wraith spell instead. And so, not Lydia, Sylvia. Sylvia's a wraith now, and that's not good. He's getting really mad. He's like, okay, I need to, bring her back to life for real now. And he's just summoning, he's just casting raise dead spells all over the place, and that's raising the dead all over Wizard City. And he's like, fuck, this isn't working. Why isn't this working?
This is a side story from 14.
And so he panics so much that he just runs away, and he's going off to steal one of Bartleby's eyes. Because, side note, I forgot to mention this, but Raven, as a gift to Bartleby, gave him 2 eyes, the eye of the future and the eye of history, which basically led him to see in the future and the past.
Bayonetta Lord?
Malistair wants to get the eye of the past so he can look back on the history of magic to find something that can bring people back to life.
He doesn't want to dare touch both and become omnipotent.
Well, if he had to steal one, he'd steal that one. But,
Gotcha.
That's already pushing it, right? He's stealing the eye of God. So while this is happening, it's like, oh shit, this is going really badly. Fuck, what's his name? Merle Ambrose, sorry. Merle Ambrose is doing magic and discovers that there's a world beyond the spiral. There are alternate universes. And so he's doing that, and the way he figures this out is that he's casting magic. He's doing magic on an orb, and he finds one person in another world with extreme magic potential. And that's you. You guys, look at you. You have the magic potential. You want to come to Ravenwood Academy and learn magic?
Yes!
No?
But it sounds like such a safe place.
This is such a safe, wholesome place. What do you mean?
Oh, by the way, while Malistair is doing this, he sinks to death school. It's just a hole in the ground now.
Yeah, he uses
There's a
it,
lot of
breaks
holes
it
in
off,
this
and then
story.
So
chucks it.
So in canon, the death school is literally under Ravenwood Academy. It's in a hole somewhere. You have to go into a doorway behind a waterfall to get to it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah!
Secret
Lucky
entrance.
doorways.
Secret entrance. And that's what's going on. You come into the scene as a magic person, and meanwhile, while you come in, Malistair is off trying to steal Bartleby's Eye of History. And this is the tutorial you play through in the game. It's Malistair's off to get the Eye of History, and you have to fight some drakes while Merle and Malistair fight, and Malistair gets away. And Merle's like, ooh, this is really bad. Oh no, he got the Eye of History and ran off. Where could he be? There's some stuff going on Unicorn Way, if you could handle that. Kid, I just summoned into this world. Go over to Unicorn Way and handle some of the undead that he summoned. And the first problem that we come into with the actual game is that I've just described the gameplay to you of the entire game in that one sentence. Basically, shit happens around you, and some guy's like, hey, could you run some errands for me real quick?
Yeah!
Because I've played through the entire full version, and I'm only just realizing that Malistair stealing the eye and you coming to the world are literally happening at the same time.
Yeah, like, they don't do a good job of explaining the story to you.
The way they frame it, it seems like Malistair did that like maybe 50 years ago. It's like, it
yeah, but then why is he back here?
It happened yesterday.
Yeah. So something about Malistair getting the Eye of History led him to travel to another world in the Spiral, and you gotta figure out what it is. But first you gotta go through Triton Avenue and handle the undead, because the undead are learning storm magic there, and that's weird. And then you gotta go to the Cyclops Lane, which costs like $5 to get to, by the way, or $10 a month.
And that's where I stopped.
Yeah, that's where everyone stops. But I'm gonna explain to you the rest of the game now.
Oh god.
So, the rest of the game, by the way, this is, you barely touch this. There's all of this. So.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Alright. I believe you.
So you go to Cyclops Lane, right? And it turns out the undead have been taken care of because Cyrus summoned a bunch of Cyclopses and Trolls to defeat them all, but now there's a bunch of Cyclopses and Trolls running around. And so you have, hey, Cyrus, could you help with this? And Cyrus is like, that would not happen if I summoned those Cyclopses and Trolls. You're lying to me. And then you, like, give him proof, like, this is literally happening. What the fuck are you talking about? And Cyrus is like, fine. Go deal with it. And you go ahead and like disband the Cyclops army, and you like defeat their leader, and it's like, dang, I guess we can't run around Cyclops Lane anymore, guys. Let's head out. And you walk outside, and they're literally still like walking around the place, and you're like, good thing that's over, and you're walking back, and they're still running around the place. It's an MMO, and other players have to come through and do this side quest as well.
That's so funny.
And then you go to Firecat Alley, and it's the same thing, but with like fire elves. And then you go to Colossus Boulevard, and this is probably my favorite part of the game, actually, from what I've played. Basically, in Colossus Boulevard, the whole place is being taken over by gobblers, and gobblers are just like the minions of the Wizard 101 world. They're like, you know, the Despicable Me minions is what I mean. They're just like the funny guys, and they're just eating the town because they eat everything in front of them. They
Gobble, 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 gobble.
And so they have like a hierarchy, they have like a monarchy, and you kind of have to like appeal to their king to stop eating the place. And then the king is like, why would we want to do that? This
Let me guess, this interaction is you clicking your dialogue option, he speaks, you click.
Oh no, you don't have a dialogue option. You go, the way this works is you go there and they're like, go fight 2 gobblers for me, and then you do that, and then you walk back, and it's like, you should talk to Lydia Greyrose to see what she can do. And you walk to Lydia Greyrose, and she's like, maybe you should collect some flowers. And then you walk over to collect some flowers, and then you walk back to Lydia Greyrose, and it's like, okay, now defeat one of every gobbler, and you go and do that.
Okay, the plot is significantly cooler, but this kind of reminds me of the way Raid Shadow Legends plays.
I don't know much
I feel
about
like
that.
the only difference that happens within the dialogue is that occasionally a lovely British lady will just tell you what you say. Like she'll be like,
That's very true.
You tell Silas whatever the fuck about the monsters.
You tell Cyrus to go fuck himself. Fun fact.
Kick Malistair and his
Fun
fucking
fact.
dead balls.
That nice librarian lady voice is Grandmother Raven. That she's the one that's narrating the whole game that time.
Holy shit.
Like, that's canon. That's real. That's what's happening
She has
during
a
this.
lovely voice.
She has a lovely voice. She actually passed away recently. Which is
Oh, I need to move over here because Toast
Yeah.
is farting.
So,
How do you feel? You're alone, Toast.
He does not care. Oh.
You're not alone, Toast. There's bugs.
okay.
Fart in peace now.
So, I basically explained to you everything that happens in Wizard City already. And what you find out at the end of all this, you fight like Lord Nightshade, who's like one of Malistair's top army people, and you figure out that he went to Krokotopia to find the Krokonomicon, because the Krokonomicon has the power of life and death magic inside of it, because it's like balance magic, and life and death balance each other out or whatever. So, you go to Krokotopia, right? And it turns out that slavery is happening here.
Oh my god.
Basically, there are these people called Manders that lived here, and then Crocs came and enslaved the Manders. And while this is happening, people from Marleybone are coming in here trying to colonize the entire place. Like, I gotta find some rare artifacts from Krokotopia to bring back to my museum.
Marleybone is England.
Marleybone is London.
Gross.
Yuck.
Yuck.
And then Avalon is also England, but Arturian.
Yeah, Arturian England, yeah.
So it's just basically Celtic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you basically go through Krokotopia, and the whole thing is that there's this thing called the Order of the Fang that are trying to remove the Crocs from the place because Manders being enslaved is bad. And so you're trying to reorganize the Order of the Fang because it was lost long ago, and they tell you, okay, you got to kill these three Crocs. You have to kill like Krokotep. You have to kill. I forgot the fire one.
Krokonomen.
I think that, yeah, no wait, that's real. You kill Krokonomen, and then you kill Krokopatra, and Krokopatra is the queen of the Crocs.
Fuck you. Go
And then after doing all this, you find out that the Krokonomicon, the tome of life and death magic, is in a sarcophagus. That sarcophagus has been taken by Marleybone to be put in the Royal Museum.
Oh my god, bro.
You know what, though? What other 8-year-olds are thinking about the impact colonialism has on stealing artifacts? Like, this is kind of cool.
It is cool. It is really cool. They don't really talk about it that much, that it's kind of a bad thing that they keep taking artifacts. This is sort of like the worst thing that comes from it. All the other things are like, yeah, I wanted to come by the Pyramid of the Sun to see if I could get some obelisk rubbings for my research. And I also wanted to get some of these statues that I saw that were really cool. I was exploring the tombs earlier in the Well of Spirits. So that's what's happening in Krokotopia.
Naturally.
Yeah. And so Malistair figures out that the tome of life and death magic, the Krokonomicon, is in Marleybone, and you have to go to Marleybone and get it first. And so it's a race against time to get to the Royal Museum to get it. And you go to the Royal Museum, and they're like, yeah, we're not gonna let some random kid in our museum exhibits, but maybe if you get the mayor's favor, he'll let you in. And you talk to the mayor, and he's like, I'll let you in, but you gotta help us with some stuff, because there's some gang members that are going around, and it's really bad. You should talk to Sherlock Bones and see what he can do to help you.
Fuck!
These puns aren't gonna end, by the way. It's just, every name is gonna be a pun.
Oh yeah, in the like free part of Wizard 101, it's a bunch of like Wizard of Oz puns.
Yeah, they have a side quest where you do like Wizard of Oz, where you meet Dorothy and she has to get like the Tin Man and whatever.
Yeah.
But they're not like the Tin Man, it's some like wordplay on it.
It's a monster that could be considered a Tin Man.
Like in the game, I forgot what they're called, but the model they use is a very specific like creature.
The mannequin? The mannequin guy?
No, that's the mannequin guys are just puppets. I forgot the gear guy, the gearheads. I forgot what they're called, but they have a specific name. I think they're just called like gearheads or something.
I can't.
Yeah, it's alright. But you go to Marleybone, and so you're gonna help Sherlock Bones. By the way, Marleybone is like dog people, so you're going around helping out dog people. And by the way, cats are like second-class citizens for some fucking reason.
You hear that, Toast?
Let's go. Let's keep
So you're going.
Part of the Uber Munch.
You're going around Marleybone, and you're stopping those rascally O'Learys, and then you get word that Meowiarty is planning an escape from his cell. And Sherlock Bones and Watson are here to help you stop Meowiarty from getting out. But he does it anyways because Malistair freed him, because he's working with Meowiarty to steal the thing from the Royal Museum.
Is there wasn't Guy Fawkes but a cat?
No.
Damn.
He's actually a bird, and they call him Guy Hawk.
So you're in Marleybone, right? And you're like, fuck this shit. You're going around. You're trying to stop Meowiarty, and this is a whole fucking thing that I really fucking hate. Because Meowiarty's hangout is at the top of Big Ben, right? But the doors to the top of Big Ben are locked. So you have to, like, do the counterweights. You have to, like turn the counterweights the right way to do that. And each counterweight is a dungeon. So you have to do 2 dungeons to open the door to Big Ben. And Big Ben is a 2-hour dungeon.
Wow.
I haven't talked about this, but Wizard 101's a turn-based card game. Imagine my shock when I was playing a fucking turn-based card game for 2 fucking hours to get to the top of Big Ben so I could fight Meowiarty before Malistair steals the Krokonomicon and heads over to Mushu, which is his next location, by the way.
Ooh, are they all cow people in Mushu?
Cow and pig and goat farm animals, basically. But then I find out that Meowiarty already stole the fucking Krokonomicon, and I did all of this for nothing, and I now have to fight Meowiarty while Malistair's running a Mushu to do whatever the fuck, we'll get into that, and I have to fucking, god damn it!
He stole it because it took you 2 hours to get to the dungeon.
Yeah.
I think you got good.
Now, here's the thing, right? I haven't talked about like the elemental system in this game, but if you
elemental system?
there's an elemental, well, elements, the 3 elements, and then the 3 spirits when you combine the elements, and then there's just balance magic, which is neither.
Just shows
There's like type advantages and stuff?
There are type advantages. How it works. So I'm a conjurer, right, which means I do myth magic, and I have a well, I don't have a weakness, but I'm stronger against storm magic because storm is the opposite of myth. You see, because it's at the opposite of this thing, kind of.
Oh, that makes
But
sense.
they're connected somehow.
Wait. Yeah, so fire and ice magic cancel each other out, right? Because fire and ice are opposites. So when they collide, it creates a paradox of sorts. And this paradox is, like, solved by you doing more damage to the other person, basically. And so fire and ice are opposites, that's a paradox. Life and death are opposites, so that's a paradox. Storm and myth are just the ones that left out, so they're paradoxes, right? So, if I'm fighting a storm guy, I do more damage to him, and that's kind of neat. If I'm fighting a myth guy, he has 80% resistance to all damage I do at all times. The only way to beat a guy who has myth without just like grinding the whole fucking time, just doing like 20 damage to him every 10 turns, is to put on what is known as a myth prism, which basically turns all myth damage he takes into storm damage. And so I have to put on a myth prism before setting up my next attack to make sure I maximize the amount of damage I'm doing to Meowiarty. Meowie fucking Arty!
You're playing a game of chess.
So you get to Mushu, right?
Yeah!
And in Mushu, it's like cow people and goat people and pig people, and I kind of fuck with it. This is where the ninja pigs come in, if you remember those.
Oh my god, that's where they come from?
The ninja pigs come
pig?
from Mushu.
Fuck you.
And they're myth types, right? So I fuck with that. That's my shit, right?
Except not really, because it takes harder to fight.
Oh yeah, well I don't have to fight them, thankfully. Because I summon them as a spell.
Ooh.
Except you can't get them yet, because you do unlock them in Mushu, but you have to do shit in Zafaria first to get them, and I never got that far. So, never fucking mind, I guess. Anyways, you go to Mushu, and the reason that Malistair went to Mushu is that he's trying to get to Dragon Spire, so that he can awaken the Dragon Titan and use that full magic power to do magic and redo Sylvia, or whatever. So, when Dragon Spire got shut down, the key was given to the Emperor of Mushu, Emperor Yoshihito. And so he's going over to plead to the Emperor to give him the key, and he's like, "You're evil, no." And so Malistair responds by fucking killing him.
Yeah.
So the Emperor is fucking dead. And this is a problem because Mushu is kind of like, I mean, if you haven't figured out, it's like feudal Japan, I think? Or
It's Asia.
it's Asia, because there's like Japanese stuff and
Orientalism,
Chinese
yeah.
Orientalism,
Yeah, yeah.
And so now that the Emperor is dead, all the warlords are coming in and are like, "Hey, power vacuum, I want some of that shit." So while you're trying to figure out how to bring the Emperor back to life so you can get his second pair of keys he has to get into Dragon Spire, you're having to solve this problem with like a power vacuum and stopping all the warlords from taking over?
Can you just take over and run it?
No, of course not.
When would you have the time?
So you're fighting all the warlords, and they're fighting each other, and it turns out one of the warlords is possessed by the War Oni, and the War Oni, is really fucking bad.
The War Devil?
The War Devil, yes.
No!
We're doing the fucking Harbingers now. So you have to fight the War Oni, and when you defeat the War Oni, you get the Emperor's sword, and it turns out this is the part to bring him back to life, because this will refuel his spirit. So now you have to refuel his mind and body. And to refuel his mind, you have to get clean water from the Clear Lakes, but the Clear Lakes have been damaged by the Pestilence Oni. So you have to fight the Pestilence Oni to get the clear water back, and you give him that to clear his mind. Now you have to clear his body by getting him a fruit from the Tree of Life. But the Tree of Life has been possessed by the Death Oni, so you have to fight the Death Oni to get the thing from the Tree of Life to reawaken his body. But it turns out he was possessed by the Jade Oni, so now you have to fight the Jade Oni.
The Death Oni was possessed?
No. No, you beat the Death Oni, you revive the Emperor, and the Emperor was possessed by an Oni.
Oh.
That's like the Greed Oni, I'm guessing?
No, the Jade Oni.
Is it Greed related?
No.
Oh, he's just Jade?
He's just Jade.
Fuck it.
And
He's just
what
Jade
are
Oni.
Mushu? Are the Oni, like, do they look like Oni, or are they also farm animals?
They're elephant people.
God fucking damn it.
And if you're a life wizard, you can learn how to summon the Jade Oni yourself at level 42.
Wait, I was a life wizard.
You want to learn how to summon a Jade Oni and God, which we'll get to. So anyways,
Yeah.
you do all that shit, and the Emperor is very grateful. By the way, Jade Oni is possibly the best boss fight in this first arc that we're going through, because it's a one-on-one fight where he has a shit ton of health, and it's not that hard, but it's satisfying enough to get through him where you feel pretty good about it at the end. So yeah. And also, if you're a life wizard, you're fucked, so don't worry, because he's a life type, so fuck you, right?
Well, life has like a prism equivalent.
Yeah,
right?
they also have a prism equivalent, but they also do shit damage already, so they're doing shittier damage now.
Yeah,
And also the Jade Oni can cast death shields, so he can shield against both damages.
Damn.
Dragon Spire, right? You get the key to Dragon Spire. Woo! We're gonna go back here. We're gonna see the aftermath of the apocalypse.
Yeah.
And when you get it, Cyrus is like, hey, I want to talk to you real quick. Now remember, I'm a myth wizard, so when I played this was very special. But for everyone else, just some random teacher decided to meet them in the back of the classroom. They come to my office, right? And so you go to his office, and Cyrus has pulled out his deck and is like, okay. Pull out his cards.
Nice save.
Pulled out his cards. He's like, fuck you, fight me. If you think you're gonna take on Malistair, you gotta get through me first. Cause like, I'm not strong enough to beat Malistair. So you gotta be at least as strong enough as me before I even let you near Dragon Spire, right? This shit's the apocalypse world, right?
That is a pretty good point. Like, they are your teacher, and they still do care about you, but also they know that they're not strong enough.
So this is, if you're a myth wizard, this is really cool because you're fighting your teacher. What? Oh yeah, don't touch those. It's bad.
Attacked by wild aloe.
Yeah. So you fight Cyrus and you win, and Cyrus is like, good golly, good. Good job. Let's go to the Basilica in Dragonspire and do shit. Malistair is right now in Dragonspire trying to awaken the Dragon Titan, and that's bad. So to get to Malistair, right?
No.
You have to find the 3 portal stones. The first portal stone was destroyed during the apocalypse. So you have to find the time stone to go back in time. To get the dragon, to get the portal stone before the dragons attack,
You need
right?
to make the good future in Dragonspire.
Which is really cool, but this is step fucking 1, and it takes a third of the world's length. Which is 10 hours, by the way. All these worlds are about 10 hours in length.
Oh, do they actually pace them so each one's about equal?
About.
That's cool.
Essentially. I think, like, Lemuria is closer to 12 and something like that. But
And do you
they're all
pay
about-
per world?
You can pay per section of world, or you can just pay $10 a month, which is what you should do. Because if you pay per world, you're paying like $600 for all of this.
Golly.
Golly.
Wait, per section per world?
Per section. So you would have had to pay individually for Cyclops Lane, Firecat Alley.
What the
And those are all about $5, so all in total, Wizard City's $20. Or you could just pay $10 a month and beat it in like a few days.
What the hell?
And then that's the same for all of these. And it
Do you
costs
think
about
anyone actually spent $600?
No, I don't. I would doubt that happened. But when I was a kid, I had limited computer time, so I decided to buy the permanent zones, and so I bought all of Wizard City and some of Krokotopia, and that's all the game I had to play. After, like, grinding money from my parents as much as I could. This was $60, by the way. I could have played an actual game.
You could have played Roblox for free.
For free. I could have...
Gone on Pop Tropica.
I was also playing Pop Tropica, but this too. I could have played a real fucking game, right? So anyways, Dragon Spire, you're in here and you got the first portal stone. You had to fucking travel back in time to get it. And to get the second portal stone, you have to get the approval of the dean who's dead. You know the dean who ended the world? You have to get his approval to get the second portal stone. And so you have to become, like... You have to apply for Dragonspire Academy, and you know the offices are closed right now, so your application doesn't quite go through. But you managed to make do. I think you literally just like fuck it and just like prove to the ghosts that you should be a part of Dragonspire Academy. And then you do that, and then eventually you get to become an You get to the approval. You have to go through another 2-hour dungeon to get the approval of the Dean, Vladimir Darkflame. And once you've done that, then you can get the second portal stone. And now you have to get the third portal stone. I think I fucked this up. I think you already got the first portal stone from Yoshihito. Second one was the one that was destroyed. Third one is the one you just got. So you got all the 3 portal stones. But now... Malistair is on the top of a tower, and there's not exactly like a staircase up there, so you have to fly there. In order to fly there, you need to learn how to ride a drake. Now, in order to learn how to ride a drake, you have to hatch your own drake from the Drake Hatchery in Dragonspire. Once you've done this, you can then get the Drake's Rider Staff, and you grab the Drake Rider Staff, and you hop on the Drake that you raised yourself, and you ride them up to the top of the tower. This is a 4-hour thing, by the way. This takes 4 hours.
Do you keep the Drake afterwards?
No.
Fuck you.
The Drake just acts like as like a thing where you press X to automatically go to the top of the tower.
But there are mounts in Wizard 101. Like, it would have made more sense if they kept it as a permanent mount.
See,
No, because they wouldn't make money off of other mounts.
No!
See,
You need to pay $10 per mount in order for us to make our money.
Fuck!
14 does that. Just so you know.
What? It gives you free mounts?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a better game.
Well, I got a free mount when we were playing together.
For 24 hours.
hours.
You
Yeah,
get temporary mounts for free.
You get a broom for 24 hours and it doesn't even actually, like, do anything. You just
It makes you slightly faster.
you float.
It literally makes you move faster in the field. Slightly.
Wait, do other mounts do things besides make you move faster?
No, they all
Okay.
make you move the same amount of speed more.
So when you see a person with a fancy mount, just know they are flexing on you on purpose.
Yeah. So anyways, you go
That
to
Wizard 101
Dragonspire,
drip.
and you find Malistair's lair, and you go there, but now you have to do another fucking dungeon of fighting his minions who are like lava golems and shit, and you beat them up, and you finally make it to the top of Malistair's tower, and he's about to wake up the Dragon Titan, and you can actually see the Dragon Titan's eye opening at the top of the tower, because his eye is as big as, like, the top of the tower. Like,
Oh,
his
that's
pupil is
cinematic.
as big as Malistair. Like, it's that fucking big. That fucking big. That fucking big. He's about to summon that shit so he can revive his wife.
No!
Fucking just take the divorce. And who's more divorced, Malistair or Elon Musk?
I'm going to say Elon.
I'm gonna say Robert Kiyosaki.
I'm gonna say Asgore Dreamer.
True.
I'm gonna say Dracula Tepesh.
So, you get up here, and Cyrus Drake gets up here and is like, Malistair, my brother, you must stop. And Malistair's like, no, I'm going to bring my wife back. And Cyrus is like, okay, well, listen to this. And plays like a crystal that has Sylvia's memories in it. And Sylvia's like, hey, don't revive me. Hey, just move on, you fucking motherfucker. And Malistair's like, no, die, and he kills Cyrus.
Oh.
And now you have to fucking fight Malistair.
Wait, is it Cyrus specifically, or is it like whoever your teacher is?
No, it's specifically Cyrus. Because he's Malistair's brother.
But this is emotional for you.
This is emotional for me because that's my teacher he just fucking killed. So you fight Malistair, right? And you win because you're good. And Malistair dies. The end.
Yeah.
Well, Malistair dies, but he, like, as he dies, Sylvia's ghost talks to him, is like, finally, we're together again, and he goes away. The end. Oh, also, Cyrus wasn't dead. Cyrus didn't die. He just teleported. He casted a teleport spell on him, you know? You've seen Futurama, right? First arc of Wizard 101. Okay. First arc of Wizard 101, everybody. Start recording. Is that a yes? We started recording? Are you nodding because we're recording right now?
We're recording. You're on camera.
So here's the thing, right? Wizard 101 has 3 arcs with a 4th one in the progress. It's still ongoing, by the way. But in between arc 1 and arc 2, there's a lot of other stuff you can do. So there's this world called Grizzleheim, right? And you guys kind of remember Grizzleheim, right?
Oh my God, Nick Jonas!
Woo! This is where Nick Jonas lives.
This is where Nick Jonas actual kid.
Literally, so remember how you just come from, like, Earth to get to the spiral and learn magic? Nick Jonas did the same fucking thing.
Actual Nick Jonas.
Yeah, and he made the music for Winter Tusk in real life. But in the game, he just lives in Grizzleheim and he's a musicologist, which is a field of magic we'll get into later. But remember that the Song of Creation is a song, and Nick Jonas is learning song magic. And also,
I don't like this implication.
I think is Selena Gomez that also appears in Wizard 101?
Yes.
Yeah, Selena Gomez is canon too.
Wasn't Selena Gomez in that one Disney show? Why am I afraid to...
Oh, Wizard of Waverly Palace.
Show?
Wizards of Waverly Palace, correct.
Place, right.
Place.
Okay.
The soundtrack of that show fucking slaps.
Bro, like the scene transitions? God, bro, give me those shits.
Okay. So, whoa, an intermission in my lecture. You wouldn't expect it, and yet here we are. Whoa! So I wanted to go more into this Selena Gomez quest because I played it as a kid and I remembered basically nothing about it. And I just happened to watch this video by Gladrock, like the Wizard 101 Iceberg. I'm that kind of guy. But I watched the video, right, and I found out that the Selena Gomez quest was a bit more complicated than I remember. Basically, Selena Gomez is from Earth and then gets teleported to the Spiral, like your character does. And she gets teleported here, right? Because these crab people want her to be the queen of the crab people. And she's not into that because she's like a minor, I think. I don't know what Selena Gomez is. But, then they try to marry her, and you stop them from marrying her. And as a reward, she goes on tour back on Earth and gives you, like, a statue of her and a painting. And these are items that you can put in your house. And I used to have these, but then I deleted the character that had them because I wanted to make more space for some other characters. That's about it for the Selena Gomez thing, though. Back to me. In Grizzleheim, right, there are a bunch of Viking bears, and they're kind of raw for real. They're kind of like my guys. They kind of go hard. I love the Viking bears. They're my guys for real. And they're like... And they're fighting off against the Ravens, who are here and are trying to bring an eternal winter in Ravenwood and eternal winter in Grizzleheim, and that's bad. We don't want eternal winter because I mean, how would we grow our crops, right? So you're fighting the coven of Ravens that are doing this, right? And you figure out what the Coven's plan is, and you stop it. And then you get word that there's something going on in Winter Tusk, which is an island in Grizzleheim. Some people consider it a different world, but that's bullshit, because it's literally in Grizzleheim, right? So you go to Winter Tusk, and you find, like, what the fucking Coven of Ravens are doing, and they're trying to awaken a frost giant that lives under Winter Tusk. And that's bad, because the apocalypse would start if that happened.
Multiple apocalypses.
Multiple apocalypses.
Is every arc tied to one of the Titans? Because the first one was the dragons.
Yes, but this isn't one of those arcs.
Okay.
I mean, I guess technically this is part of Arc 2, because Winter Tusk you do later, so... Yeah, this is part of Arc 2, technically,
The
but...
prelude to Arc 2.
This isn't the prelude, this is like, you do this in the middle of Arc 2, but we don't need to, like, stop Arc 2 to go over this.
Oh, this is like an Arc 2 side quest.
This is an Arc 2 side quest, like how Grizzleheim's an Arc 1 side quest,
So,
right?
so like, it's best to think of it as like a saga, sort of like in One Piece.
Yeah, we just went through the Malistair. We just went through the Malistair saga, and right now we're going over like the bonus content. Like we're going over the third arc.
Like it's like Little Garden and Drum Island.
It's like Little Garden and Drum Island, and if in between we went to Viking Bear Worlds. Okay,
So, Grizzleheim is part of the side quest for the first arc, and
Yes.
Winter Tusk, which we're talking about later, is one of the side arcs for the Act 2.
Act 2 side quest, which we're talking about now. Winter Tusk we're going to talk about right now. Winter Tusk, you go over there, winter forever, because the Frost Giant lives under it, and that's weird and bad, and you got to keep the Frost Giant from waking up. Also, Grandmother Raven is here, like literally God is here, and somehow the Coven have trapped her, so you have to free Grandmother Raven so she can help her.
Gonna suck, bro.
A little bit.
God.
They trapped God, like in like the Tree of Life or something. I forgot how. She's like stuck in a bunch of roots. But and also
She
she
is
is a
throwing the
raven.
spider in the hole.
Yeah.
Yeah, Spider's in a hole. Raven's trapped here. Bartleby's a tree. So what the fuck's he gonna do?
These gods
Why is
suck, bro.
Well, I mean, they invented all magic and the world, so you can shut the fuck up, Ed. I haven't seen you do that.
Yeah, it sounds like the bulk of their work is already done. They're kind of in retirement now.
Kinda, yeah, actually.
Those are sort of like boomers.
So you help Grandmother Raven. and Grandmother Raven helps you not kill the world, and you have to talk to the offspring of the Frost Giant, and you talk to the Frost Giant's children, and they all look like Abomasnow from Pokemon, and that's kind of cool.
Hell yeah.
Little guys.
Okay.
Little guys, you talk to a bunch of little Abomasnow people, and they're like, I like them. They're a bit uglier than Abomasnow though, but I still, they're cool. I'm cool with them. And then they help you, and you stop the Frost Giant.
They're
from
dealing
winning.
with like PS2 graphics. It's alright.
Yeah, it's alright. I mean, when I say they're ugly, I mean like they're designed to have like beer bellies and
Oh,
like,
gotcha.
they look kind of greasy, but you know, you get the idea. Anyways, that's all of Grizzleheim essentially. Is just you help bear Vikings not die, and I love my bear Vikings. My guys over there. Baldric Gold Club, whatever.
Kingsley Shep.
Baldric Gold Paws. All right.
Boulder Goldpaw. It's Boulder.
Boulder Goldpaw.
Boulder Goldpaw.
Okay, alright. So, also, as a part of a side quest for Saga 1, we have Wysteria. And Wysteria is the rival school to Ravenwood Academy. Their whole thing is that they don't teach the traditional theory of magic. They're a bit more unconventional in that they teach the more philosophical side of magic. And they teach, like, they don't teach, like, fire and ice and stuff. They teach the School of Ember, the School of Frost, the School of Tempest, the School of Earth, the School of Chaos, the School of Spirits, and the School of Equilibrium.
That's so different.
That's so different. And like they
Can
think
you learn these schools?
you can't learn these schools because it's basically just a philosophy lesson.
Gotcha.
Like the Chaos School, you learn about Jordan Peterson shit. And like
Wait, does that mean that Shaka is actually a school of chaos, like offshoot?
no, School of Spirits maybe because we're all dead on the inside. But
I don't know about you.
School of Earth specifically is interesting because their whole classroom is outside because they want to teach nature and shit, and the teacher's like a literal hippie. And the reason you're in Wysteria is because they're hosting the Spiral Cup tournament to see who's the best wizard student in the world. And so you fight off against a bunch of students who learn philosophy and shit. And you're literally beating the shit out of them with hammers and stuff.
How the fuck do they think they have a chance? Like, you literally just saved the actual universe.
Wait, so like Ravenwood is like John Hopkins, and then this place is like Micah.
Yeah, pretty much. So they think that like they have a whole theory around their whole school. Yes, thank you. Toast, you're really cute. Anyways, You know how in Ravenwood, the center of Ravenwood Academy is like Bartleby, who is a god?
Yes.
They think the fact that you think Bartleby is a god is stupid. Like, oh, conveniently all sources of magic come from a tree that's in the center of your school. That's stupid. We have a fountain where all magic comes from in our school. And how could you think the fucking tree has magic when our fountain has all the magic? And you go to the fountain and it's just a fucking fountain? And so you go back and you're like, yeah, it shows you, right? By the way, people are really horny for the Dean of Pigswick Academy in Wisteria for some reason. Because she's just like Dahlia, but like in normal people clothes and glasses.
Ezri slowly reaching for his
I
forgot, I'm gonna be honest, I forgot her name, so I think you have to look up Pigswick Academy Dean or whatever.
I got it.
If I could find my phone.
But anyways,
Shocking.
while you're doing the Spiral Cup tournament, shit's going on in the background. Like, a bunch of green men are showing up, like little green men, you know, are showing up. Little green ghoulies are showing up and they're wrecking havoc. And you're like, oh, that's weird.
Lord have mercy.
What the fuck?
God damn!
What the fuck? This is how one Bayonetta, you piece of shit.
Why are people horny for
This is Bayonetta. Look at her.
Let me see this shit. Let me take a second look.
This is literally Bayonetta. Her name is Belladonna Crisp. This is just fucking Bayonetta. Fuck you.
She's literally like a teacher or so. I don't know.
Okay.
I think it's weird that you guys are horny about the PS2 graphics lady.
I think it's weird that you're not.
Alright, maybe I'll just build different.
Built wrong, maybe. Constructed.
So you're dealing with the little green men, right? And that's weird because there are a bunch of little green men going around. And so you talk to the Earth School teacher, and he's like, that is kind of weird. But maybe we could make peace with these little green men. And they're like fucking eating and destroying and killing everything and everyone and everywhere. Because it turns out the Earth teacher summoned them and stole the Spiral Cup because that would be cool if he had the Spiral Cup, am I right, guys? So you beat the shit out of him and he stops doing that. And that's Wisteria, everybody. Woo!
Yeah, Wisteria.
Okay, we had a tournament arc. That was kind of fun.
Yeah, a little tournament arc. One more thing that happens before we get to Arc 2 is you find this place called Aquila, and I have no fucking clue how it's pronounced. I'm just gonna call it Aquila, which is basically Mount Olympus. And you go up here and it's like, I want to fight strong wizards.
I'm
Come up
looking
here.
for strong wizards.
Yeah, we're looking for strong wizards. Come up here and fight how strong. And you fight like Greek gods. And all the Greek gods are like bird people, essentially. So you go up here to fight a Pollo Bright One, get it? Like Apollo Bright One, but a Pollo? Pollo, like chicken?
Fuck off.
Fuck you, actually?
And you fight a Pollo Bright One, and blah, blah, blah. And you have to fight Zeus, Skyfather, and you're like, blah, blah, blah. But he summons a Storm Lord, he's like, "Rah!" You all take damage, and then you win.
Is Zeus a goose in this one?
Zeus is like an eagle.
Is that canon? Is that canon?
No, it's not
It
canon.
would have made more sense if he was a swan or something.
Swan or goose, yeah, because
He's an eagle, because he's like really strong. Like an eagle is.
I guess it's kind of lame cop out.
I shake my gay little head.
He's not fucking in this world, okay? Don't worry about it. This is Zeus that's not horny. The Zeus that's not horny.
He's not a criminal.
Again, this isn't a game for 8-year-olds.
This is the game for 8-year-olds, yes. That's basically Aquia, is that you just do a bunch of dungeons where you fight Greek gods, and then you get cool equipment for it or whatever. So yeah, word's on the street that somebody's trying to find out the Song of Creation and reshape the universe or whatever, so that's kind of bad. You go to Celestia to find out about this, and Celestia is just a water planet. Like, what the fuck's going on here? It's just water. But then it turns out that there's a civilization under the water.
What?
It's the Atlantis world! Under the fucking sea.
So when you spawn here, what do you see?
You basically it's explained to you before you get here that they discovered this world under Celestia, this whole civilization under the water in Celestia. And so you just sort of spawn in that dome that's under Celestia. And it turns out in like a glass dome over the whole thing.
Oh,
This is literally a location for 14.
This was in 2009, okay?
That was crazy.
When was 14?
Huh?
When was 14?
Like
By the way.
2011. The expansion that showed up in was like 2014.
Side note, but Arc 1 is the entire game as it existed in 2008. And what I thought was cool about it is that there were always like these super cool strong spells you could learn. Like I was a Myth Wizard, and if I got to the top of Myth Wizards, I could summon the Orthrus. And the Orthrus is like 7 pips, and it hits everyone for a bunch of damage. And every single character or every single school has something like this, and that's what made the game interesting to me as a kid. Because if I told you, like, I am a Storm Wizard, I learned Storm Magic, I have a tree named Torrents that I talk to for more, like, they all have their own tree, and, like, they all have their own, like, tiers of spells that start off with, like, you summon a serpent, and then you summon bats, and then there's lightning bats, and then you summon a shark, but it's a lightning shark, and then you summon a kraken, and then you summon like a whole ass storm, and then you summon like Godzilla, but he's a storm also, and then you summon God, and then it keeps going because we kind of fought gods already at this point. So
Supernatural syndrome.
yeah. And basically, like, if I told you that every single school had spells like this, where you'd start summoning little creatures, and it would come up to, like, you summoning fucking God, which life does, literally summon God. He reaches down to recreate you, and, and it heals you for a bunch of health. Like, I'm sorry, but if this shit doesn't interest you, where you're like, oh man, I want to know what Death learns, I want to know what the max Death spell is, then I think we're just two different people looking for two different things, right? Because to me, when I'm 8 years old, nothing else fucking matters than learning what the Death spell of these are. And then the Ice spell, which is summoning a Frost Giant, like the Titan.
Oh, like in the CG trailer I see on TV.
Yeah, like in the CG trailer, where they're fighting Malistair at the very end of the game, which none of you ever got to.
It's not my fault.
It isn't your fault. It's fucking expensive to get to that point. But regardless, that's what made this game interesting to me. And now that I've established this, Celestia says, fuck traditional magic theory. We study astral magic. And astral magic is an entirely new form of magic that, yes, you too can learn in the game once you get to Celestia. You have moon magic. And moon magic is about, if you combine death magic, myth magic, and ice magic. And it's about change and polymorph. You polymorph into other people with moon magic.
Okay.
You have... Shit. I think this is star magic over here. And star... I might be wrong on this. I'll check later. But star magic is about, like, buffing up you. You buff. And then sun magic is about buffing up your specific spells because the sun is a star, so they're very similar to each other. And you learn this magic. Whoa! Woo! You guys aren't excited, I see.
I like that
This is
Moon
my
is the
excitement.
only
I'm
one
sorry,
that's
I'm
not
being honest
associated
with
with
you.
life.
What was that?
I like that Moon's the only one not associated with life.
Oh yeah, because it's associated with like death, ice, myth, like a little wee kind of thing.
Because the more I stare at this picture, the more of a bizarre sense it makes.
Yeah, it does make sense. Like there's fire, sun, storm, and stars because there's a little spark of lightning. Ooh.
Oh yeah.
Excellent.
It's kinda
use of
cool.
graphics.
Thank you. I'm glad I went with the board instead of the
Yeah, you about
PowerPoint.
to imply there's like 3 more things on the outside there.
Is this umbral
Oh,
magic?
did I do that?
Contrast with astral magic?
Wait, Umbra magic?
Umbral magic, right?
What's Umbral
I
magic?
don't know. You're playing Wizard 101. I'm theorizing.
So basically, Celestia, you just learn that there's this new form of magic that exists. That I've explained how it works in the game, but also just controls the celestial objects. Like if you learn moon magic, you can control the moon at some
Wait,
point.
more questions. These
Okay.
people are underwater, right?
Yes.
Why did they figure out astronomy? They can't see it.
Well, they live in a dome. They can see out through the thing.
But they're under the water.
They can-
They are literally.
They can
under
see the stars through the water, and then the moon controls the water, and then the sun is a thing too.
Alright.
And also, like, the water is associated with space because it's like deep blue blackness, I guess.
Nah.
Yeah, it's how, like, if you go high enough up, it turns black,
I
and
think-
then you see little specks. If you go far enough into the ocean, it turns black, and you see little specks.
I think they do have like a, what is it called? Like a little, like, house observatory. Like they have one of those there too.
Planetarium.
Full disclosure, I didn't get this fucking far actually playing. I just beat Malistair and said fuck it, because I was already grinding my ass off to this point. I didn't want to do this shit too. So,
That is very respectable.
thank you. But anyways, basically you learn the 3 types of magic, and you learn that there's the Umbra Queen, the Queen of Shadows, the Queen of Spiders, Morganth, and you might get horny over her as well. Morganth is here, and what she's doing here, she's trying to learn astral magic for herself because she has a grander plan, which we'll get to in a little bit. I just want to explain that she didn't get to learn astral magic because everyone said she's evil and that giving her more magic powers would be bad. Yeah, anyways. Magic, she's trying to learn astral magic. Everyone's like, no, and she's like, but I want to. And so she says, fuck it, and forces them to teach her astral magic. And starts a war in Celestia in order to do it. So just like, she's going through there's a war between all these 3 factions, and she's going between each one. It's like, you know, I heard Moon World said you suck. And then the Sun people are like, what the fuck? And you're like, yeah, you should teach me sun magic so I can fight the Moon people for you.
Hi Thor, for real.
Yeah. So, what her plan is exactly is that, if you remember, Spider's prophecy did not get fulfilled completely. There was one part that still got left out, because if I go back to the fucking prophecy, you fucking idiot, you dumb dorky.
Be nice!
So, the part where it ends is a child sailing the Shadow Sea, which is you coming from this world to the spiral. And then afterwards is, the mirror will break, the horn will call, from the shadows I strike and the skies will fall. So she's trying to break a mirror right now to try and fulfill this prophecy. So she can sort of control the world or whatever. Because if she's the one that fulfills this prophecy, then that means the shadow web hums and stretches beyond the stars. She's the one that controls the shadow web, which will become the new spiral. So, and she's like, spiders are cool and shit, so she wants to make a web instead of a spiral, you know? So, Celestia, she's trying to learn astral magic to make that happen somehow. Maybe that's part of the skies will fall, we don't know. But she did that, and now she's running off to Zafaria for some reason. And you don't actually know where she went, you just hear that, like, hey, some people in Ravenwood Academy who went to Zafaria on like a, what the fuck is it called when you go to another country to learn shit? Not pilgrimage.
Study abroad?
Study abroad. People are studying abroad in Zafaria, and the students have gone missing, and of course, because you are here, you should go and study it. Other student, by the way. You should figure out what the fuck's happening. And so you go to Zafaria, and it's Africa, of course. And by the way, Marleybonians are here too.
Fucking damn it.
So this
and
is
Zafaria
Genshin
sounds
Impact
like
level of
Genshin.
Welcome to Sumeru! Hey, where's King Dashred, everybody?
Yeah, so
All of Greater Lord Rugedavato.
there's a little bit more to Zafaria than you really need to know. Basically, the whole world is like, oh, students went missing, I'm gonna go save them. Oh, Morganth kidnapped them because she's trying to break a mirror? Tyler, what the fuck are you doing?
I'm making more light.
Okay. But anyways, Zafaria, backstory to Zafaria is that one day, like, a comet flew overhead in Zafaria and everything just went dark, and it was called, like, the Year of Red Comet. Like, everything was just dark for some reason. And the only reason it ended is because Merle Ambrose, with the help of some other characters, formed the Council of Light and sort of brought light to Zafaria and ended the Year of Red Comet or whatever. And Merle Ambrose, those people that he worked with were Lydia Greyrose, Diego the Duelist, and Emperor Yoshihito from Mushu.
I would do terrible things to Diego the Duelist.
Shut the fuck up! Why are you horny about every other character?
I would do terrible things to Diego the
If
Duelist.
those terrible things are not murder, I'm gonna be really upset.
Oh my god.
I
So
mean,
anyways-
horny and murder are not mutually exclusive.
Shut the fuck up. Anyways, Zafaria. You're hearing.
Do you see the vision?
I would not have sex with him.
Yeah. Anyway, shut the fuck up about which characters you're gonna smash or pass.
Stop bringing them up.
Zafaria! Stop being horny! Stop bringing up characters? Is that what you want?
Yes.
The rest of the lecture, no characters. Go.
No characters,
Go.
okay. So Zafaria, there's a thing that happens, right? So Morganth is headed off. She's doing her own shit. Gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss shit. She finds this place called Mirror Lake, and it turns out this is the mirror she's going to break. And so she drains Mirror Lake in Zafaria, and it turns out that her deck was under there, so she gets her spell deck. So she gets her spell deck back, and now she can cast magic again and fight people. And then she just fucks off from Zafaria, and so that's kind of sucks. So you tell Merle Ambrose about this, and Merle's like, hey, yeah, I know this is bad because I'm the one who sealed the fucking deck under the Mirror Lake. Like, I know why this is a problem.
A whole lot of sealing and not destroying or killing shit.
It is just paper. Burn it.
I don't know, but he tells you if you want to defeat Morganth, her magic's too powerful, you need to get the Sword of Light. And the Sword of Light is in Avalon, stuck in a stone, right?
No fucking way.
And you have to go to the sword in the stone, and it turns out it got pulled years ago. So you go. Someone already pulled the sword from the stone, right?
And what was his name?
How is
The
how
bear.
is that a detail that's just forgotten? Oh yeah, it happened years ago.
Oh yeah, that happened years ago. I don't fucking know.
Hey, why don't you tell us the name of the guy that pulled that sword out of that stone?
It was a knight. A single knight.
By the
did it.
name of...
What's his name?
It wasn't King Arthur, if that's what you're trying to get to.
Hey, was his last name Pendragon?
What the fuck are you talking about?
Answer the question. Was it Luther
Just dodged the
Pendragon?
question.
No, it was not. Who the fuck is Luther Pendragon?
Luther Pendragon is Arthur's dad.
Oh, then no, it wasn't Luther Pendragon or Arthur. It was a knight, right? And a knight pulled it, and so you go talk to the knight, and the knight's like, oh, sorry, I passed this off to my student, this other knight. And so you go over to the other knight, and he's like, no, I passed that off to my other student. And it's like, what the fuck?
There was never a Sword of Light.
What was the point of walking to one person to send you just to the next?
So you could do more side quests. It's like, oh man, I'll tell you where the Sword of Light is, but could you kill some, like, weirwoods for me? Like, could you kill some Frondlings real quick? I actually fucking don't know what you fight in Avalon. I just researched what the lore was. But it's basically just to give you more side quests. And so, like, you get to this point where it's like, oh, I gave this to a knight, but he lives in the weird. Now, in order to get into the weird, you have to be a knight yourself. But in order to become a knight, you have to become an armature. And in order to become an armature, you have to become a squire. So you go to the squire place where you become a squire, and then become a squire. And so you can go to the armature place to become an armature. So you go to the knight place to become a knight. And all of these are fucking, like, hour-long side quests, by the way. And so you do all this shit, and then you walk back, and you get to go into the weird. And it turns out that the knight in the weird gave it to another knight years ago. And in order to get to the place where that knight is, you have to become a knight errant. And in order to become a knight errant, you have to go to the field of the knight errant and, like, do a little thing and fight some people to become a knight errant. And then you figure out that the sword was passed off to King Artorias.
Ah, there it is.
There it is!
There it is!
King Artorias is a bear.
King Artorias is a bear. And by the way, at the end of this world, you get to summon King Artorias yourself. You get a little King Artorias spell. It's really cool.
I should kill you where you stand, you motherfucker.
So King Artorias is locked away in his tower because he lost a fight years ago. And so in order to get the sword back, you have to save King Artorias by storing the tower that he's locked in, and you do that. And there's also this horn you have to play, the Horn of Huracan, or not the Horn of Huracan, that's later actually. Spoilers, sorry. You play this horn to, like, summon, like, people to storm whatever, fuck. And that might be the horn that you call, because the mirror already broke, so the next thing that happens is the horn will call. So maybe you did that yourself.
You motherfucker, you did it. You completed prophecy. Go to hell.
Yeah, we did complete a prophecy, and that's Avalon, everybody. Woo. We got the sword back, guys! Woo! Okay, so now we get word from from Merle that there's this lost civilization called the Aztecosaurs. And the Aztecosaurs were thought to be dead years ago, but we just got a message from them that they're under attack. So we should save them, maybe? So you have to go to Azteca to save the Aztecosaurs, and guess what Azteca is?
I have no fucking clue.
It's Aztec, but also dinosaurs.
No fucking way!
So you go to Azteca, and so this is actually really cool.
Say, Aztec's one of my favorite, like, classic civilization aesthetics.
Okay, so this is going to be really cool, right? Years ago, Azteca was a civilization of dinosaurs or whatever, and then a comet started falling towards Azteca, and everyone thought Azteca was just going to die because the comet was going to slam in and kill everyone. And so everyone lost contact with Azteca after that, so they assumed, oh, the Aztecosaurs
What,
are
everyone
dead.
just assumed they were gonna die, so they just forgot about them?
No, they didn't forget about them. They were like, oh, a comet fell in Azteca and killed everyone. That's history for you. But it turns out the comet never fell. It's still suspended in midair, and the entire planet is frozen in a constant state of about to die.
Oh, like that one episode of Adventure Time.
Maybe, I don't
The
know.
wizard school.
Oh, yeah!
Oh, yeah, that. Wait, exactly that. Wait, 1-to-1, actually.
Oh my god.
So, Azteca, this is about to fucking fall and kill everyone, but it stayed suspended in the air for years, and no one knew why. And suddenly it started falling again. Because goddamn motherfucking Morganth was learning astral magic to make the comet fall again.
Why?
Because the mirror will break, the horn will call, from the shadows I strike, and the sky will fall.
So he's just like, oh, well...
Yeah, she's gonna kill a whole fucking civilization to make a prophecy come true.
Bro,
And-
you can make the sky fall after you get the dinosaurs out. This is a multi-dimensional kind of thing here.
Too much time. Fuck the dinos. Fuck them Aztecosaurs.
So she's dropping the comet because it might be what the poem is referencing.
Yes.
Fuck her. She's so pretty, but why?
That's
so
how
you
it be.
have to. You basically go through this whole song and dance where it's like, hey, the world's about to end. Could you kill 3 Spinosaurs for me?
Just to make sure those characters don't come back?
Yeah, the world's about to end. Could you collect some shiny mushrooms for me while you're out?
These shiny mushrooms will protect
Like,
me.
you're going through this world while it's about to end. Like, the comet is falling constantly. You can see it. It's like Majora's
Sorry about
Mask.
that.
That shit's always there.
Wow.
So, is that a piss bucket?
Not yet.
Okay.
Could be.
So, Azteca, still going on. What the? I can't, man. I
You
don't know
can't
what's
lecture
going
while
on.
I move a box?
Yes, literally I can't. Sorry.
Alright.
Sit back down.
I'm making
Pay
room so
attention.
Ed can get back.
Demerit. Demerit. Okay, anyways. Because now I'm ready. Okay. So, Morganth, right? Fucking up Azteca, trying to destroy the world to make the sky fall. And that's weird. And then she's trying to get on top of the comet, and that's weird. So you follow her throughout this whole thing, and she like kills people and kills the king, and then revives the king and makes you fight the king, and then shows up in fucking the temple of the Mother Moon or whatever to play the Horn of Huracan, which was actually the horn from the prophecy, not the first one you played. And she plays the Horn of Huracan, and this opens up a portal to the top of the comet, and you're like, what the fuck do you, why? And so you follow her up to the top of the comet, and she's like, oh, now that we're at the top of the comet, fuck you, and then just leaves through the portal. Now, she doesn't just leave through the portal, she revives Malistair from the dead on top of the fucking comet. So, like, you can't just teleport off right now. So you have to fight Malistair while you're on a comet that's currently hurtling towards a civilization, right? And so this shit's happening, and you're fighting Malistair, and, so you beat Malistair, right? Because we went through this already. And so, beating Malistair somehow breaks the comet apart.
Is he stronger this time, or is it the same boss fight?
I think he's stronger, but, like,
Proportionally.
Proportionally.
Does he have any voice lines when he gets like resummoned, or is he just like, hey, here's a guy that looks like Malistair, fuck off?
No, he has voice lines. He's like, I'm finally back to get my revenge. After you, I will revive Sylvia.
Didn't he make peace with that already?
Apparently not.
Isn't he literally in the afterlife right now?
Yeah.
Well, he was in the afterlife, but then he was brought back, and he's like, I know what I'll do. I will revive Sylvia. And so
Do you just kill Malistair again then?
you kill Malistair again, except he doesn't die because he flies off a piece of the comet into the void. And so he's not dead, but he is floating off in the void forever. So we won't revive him again or anything.
You shoot him.
No, because then Morgant will just revive him again. He has to just, like, exist in non-existence forever. You have to make sure he can't come back.
Yeah, that means he's like never gonna be with his wife.
Ludo, be nice.
True, yes. He's never going to be with his wife.
Don't eat him.
So anyways, so you know that episode of One Punch Man where he like punches the asteroid that's about to destroy a whole city?
Yeah.
And instead it damages the whole city heavily?
Yeah.
Basically you do that and that's how Azteca is saved.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, Azteca is
Woo!
saved! Woo! Now we gotta stop Morgant because she just fulfilled the prophecy and is now trying to sing the Song of Creation to recreate the universe or whatever. Going to Chrysalis, everybody! Woo! Chrysalis.
So that like North Pole?
Chrysalis.
No, not quite.
Bug World?
What?
Bug World?
It is kind of Bug World. Ed, look at me in the eyes. This is Red Bull.
Are you serious? You're lying.
This is Red Bull.
How
We're
is
doing
it-
fucking Red Bull.
How is your Red Wall from? You never read Red
Okay,
Wall, so
okay.
you don't fucking.
So
know.
maybe I'm
How's
wrong on
it
this,
Red
so I'll
Bull?
describe it. So there are these fights between all these animals, right? And you have the burrowers who are like the mice people. You have
No, you go.
you have the bees who are bees, right?
There's no fucking bees.
Okay, there are sugar gliders from the sugar
What
glider
the fuck
world.
is sugar gliders doing here now?
And they're all fighting each other, right? And I think there's some other shit that are fighting each other, but they don't matter. Those are just the three factions that matter. And they're fighting, and you team up with the burrowers to help them fight. And they're like,
I hate how like most games in our year 2022 would let you pick which faction you want to help.
oh, and this game does not. You don't get a choice. You help the burrowers. You're like, hell yeah. So you help the burrowers, and they're fighting the bees, so you fight bee people. And then I think, like, okay, the bee people are cool, so I'm gonna help the bee people now. And you're helping the bee people fight the sugar gliders.
You're
and
helping the people.
the people. And the people, you help them fight the sugar gliders, and then you decide, hey, the sugar gliders are cool too. So you go and help the sugar gliders or whatever, and you get them all teamed up to, like, storm a tower to get a good artifact of magic or whatever, and you use that artifact to not Morganth, right? And so you've successfully done not Morganth, and then you figured out that there's magic beyond your comprehension in the universe.
Again?
Uh-oh.
No. This you could comprehend. Shadow
okay.
magic you cannot. I did not do the symbol correctly, but whatever.
Is that the spiral in the bottom of the Wizard 101 logo?
No.
Aw.
I forgot how to do the fucking symbol, but it's like or something like that. Not like that. No, I remember now. Third try. There. Shadow magic.
Whoa.
So, here's the thing. Traditional magic theory is all in this circle. Shadow magic is every fucking thing else you could do. So, like the Song of Creation, that's shadow magic.
Whoa.
Fucking
Oh.
the Titanic lullaby is shadow magic. Creating new titans is shadow magic. Reshaping the universe is shadow, because you can do anything with magic. This is just what we understand as magic. Like, everything else that you could possibly do with magic that isn't in the circle is shadow magic.
Gotcha, so it's not even like a school, it's just an other category.
It's everything else. It's like, this is the whole world we knew, and this is the Dark Continent.
So,
Yeah.
I'm noticing how it's like a repeated triangle. So, does the existence of shadow magic imply like a bigger triangle around the triangle that we can't that we just can't comprehend yet?
The shadow magic is basically, it's not like a triangle or anything, it's just miscellaneous, everything else. Like, again,
It's
think
like
of the Dark...
the known universe and then antimatter, right?
No. Think of like in Hunter x Hunter, you had the known world, and then you had the Dark Continent. Shadow magic is the dark continent.
Okay.
Everything we understand is in this known world. Everything we could possibly do is in the dark continent, right? So shadow magic is pretty fucking powerful. Like, you could theoretically do anything. You could become omnipotent, you all-knowing, all-seeing, all-doing God if you have shadow magic. So you learn shadow magic, right? And in the game, basically how it works is you become a Reaper, and you do more damage. But you also take backlash, because the shadow magic doesn't quite like you, because you're not evil. So
is shadow magic inherently evil?
Shadow magic is inherently... It's basically like fucking with the nature of the universe, and like...
So it's
there's
reality warping.
Reality warp, like you're fucking with how things should be, and that's pretty cool if you're like a little devilish today, right? If you're feeling a little mischievous, like shadow magic might like you, like, oh, you just want to reshape the universe so it can reform the first world, and then you could like rule over it as a god. You have malicious intent. I kind of like that about you. You're kind of cool.
That makes me ask some questions about our tree god, because he seems real comfortable with using this shit.
I think what might be happening here is that the shadow magic might just be like, I don't know, like a lot, and a creature like Bartleby that is like incredibly like, I guess, capable and powerful could process that. But anyone beneath that probably couldn't, so, like, I guess your average good-natured person be corrupted by that knowledge. But someone that's already evil would already have that corruption, so it wouldn't affect them as bad?
I guess that would work. That is because shadow magic is not very well explained in the actual game, so that would make sense as a theory on how shadow magic works. I think of it as just, like, reprogram the universe, but, like, the admin is a dick. And if you're being a dick, he's cool with it. Like, that's very funny. Like, if you're on a Discord server, you want to hack a guy, right? If the admin just doesn't like that guy, then you're good with it, right? You can just go ahead and do that. He'll let you. But if it's, like, one of the admin's friends, then he's like, fuck, no, don't stop it. So, shadow magic is the admin, you're the hacker, God is the bus. Anyways. Morgan came here to learn shadow magic, and that's pretty fucking crazy, because now she can do what the fuck ever she wants. So we gotta stop her. And we get guided to a direction of someone who can help us stop her in this place called the Dark Hole. And we go into the Dark Hole, and there's this guy called Old Cobb that's in the Dark Hole. And he's like, ah, man, I've been in there forever. Now I heard you wanted help fighting this girl called Morgan. What's that? She's trying to recreate the first world? That sounds like a big problem. Let's go solve that with shadow magic. And so you go and you fight Morgan, and she turns into a spider, and you win.
Do you free the spider?
You free Old Cobb. Old Cobb is free.
Oh, Boise.
Boise?
Does the British narrator have anything to say about that?
The British narrator just does what she normally does. Like,
Aww.
Old Cobb handed you a note. And by the way, you probably already figured this out by now, but for some fucking reason, no one else did except for a few commenters on, like, Let's Play videos I watched while researching. Old Cobb is grandfather's spider.
I mean, no shit.
Yeah, we all...
No, people were like, oh man, but is that grandfather spider? I mean, sure, he was found in a dark hole, and he's kind of weird, and he's...
Cobweb.
And he kind of has spider legs, but, like, we don't... Maybe that's not grandfather spider. We don't know. It's still a mystery. And so after this, you're like, okay, we did it. The Morganth is no more. The world is saved. Now I must do what I must do. And he throws up these 3 orbs and says, go, my children, to Polaris, Mirage, and Imperia. To be continued. Merle Ambrose literally comments, I wonder who that Old Cobb character is. I hope he's not evil. I guess we'll just have to wait and see what tomorrow brings. Arc 2, everybody! Woo!
Alright, what did we like better, Arc 1 or Arc 2?
Arc 2 is pretty popular.
I feel like Arc 2 had more fun settings and was willing to get way more original and crazy with their...
Agree.
Yeah, most people think the game just continuously gets better, which is a problem, because if you want to play this game without spending money, you get, like, half of that. You get that. This is the amount you get of content in this game. And it sucks because, like, I don't want to fucking fight rotting fighters with my fucking snake people. I want to go meet God and then fight other God with God powers in God World, which is also Redwall. And
I don't know. It's not giving Redwall.
and then it just gets crazier as we go on, and we're gonna fucking talk about shit like Lemuria and Novus. And Wallaroo's not out yet, but it's gonna get crazy. Anyways, side quests, right? Because there's this side quest that gets added during the second arc called the Tale of 4 Dungeons, and 3 of these dungeons don't fucking matter at all. It's like you go to Krokotopia, right? And there's this one person who got lost in Camp Camelug in Mushu, and you go and find the person who was lost, and it's like an hour-long dungeon. And then it's like, ooh, you need to go to fucking Barkingham Palace in Marleybone and stop fucking someone. And that's it. It sucks. And then it's like, ooh, you gotta go to Zigazag in fucking Krokotopia to fuck whatever.
Are these like mandatory to continue?
No, these are side quests. You never have to do these, ever. But there's one that is interesting, and that's a new world called Darkmoor. Because Darkmoor is Malistair's lair. Because Malistair just, after floating off of the comet, just like found a new world and made a whole lair in it, and that's where he is right
Okay.
now. So there's this second dungeon, and you go through it, and you fight Malistair, who's undead. He's called Malistair the Undying. He has shadow magic now, I think. And he's like, I'm going to revive Sylvia. And you go, we've done this before already, guy, come on. You're like, no, I'm stronger. Once I've killed you, I will revive Sylvia. And then you kill him. And then he's like, no, I can't believe you killed me. And then Sylvia's like, dude, shut the fuck up. And he's like, okay, I give up. I won't revive you, Sylvia. And then he passes on.
Again.
Again. Again! But this time he's dead for good. He doesn't come back unless they decide to bring him back in fucking Wallaroo or whatever. I don't know.
I don't think they're going to use Australia to bring him back.
They might not, but who knows? We'll get to...
That is Australia, right?
Well, yeah, you figured it out. You're pretty smart. I like that about you. Anyways, so the thing is that all the other side quests in this don't fucking matter and are really fucking boring. Like, there aren't any other worlds you go to aside from these, and the side quests in these worlds are like, could you kill 3 cats for me?
Always.
Could you kill 3 bees? Could you get those burrowers to shut up? You know?
Could you, like, walk around the world and... Isn't there, like, a camera thing they want you to take pictures of?
Yeah, they added photomancy to the game, which is just taking screenshots. You can do that, but, like, why the fuck would you? It's just there to make it easier to take screenshots of the game, essentially.
Gotcha.
Alright.
It's funny, because when you play the tutorial, you spend most of your time doing tutorial side quests to stuff that they're setting up that will never pay off if you only do the free version.
Yeah. So, I don't... No. So, I wanted to put, like, little buffers between each of the arcs here. It's just a dog, come on. Anyways, you gotta pay attention. We're about to talk about the mushroom glitch. Because I just wanted to... I didn't have anything to talk about between Arc 2 and Arc 3, so I decided to put all the miscellaneous stuff I wanted to say here. So the mushroom glitch, right? There used to be a glitch in Wizard 101 in Azteca, where if you walk up to this one mushroom item, you could keep picking it up forever. Like, it just wouldn't despawn when you picked it up, and you could just keep picking it up. And so infinite money, right? Because you sell the mushrooms for money,
oh,
you make
gotcha.
a bunch of money. And so a bunch of people, word got around about this, and so people would just get infinite money from this. King's Isle, the people who created Wizard 101, gets word of this and decides to just ban everyone who exploited the glitch. If you grabbed this mushroom more than once, ever, you were banned from Wizard 101.
Uh-oh.
People were not happy about this, and it became a pretty controversial thing that happened. Other notable things, there was this treasure card called Empower, which would be like you take 300 damage and you get 3 pips. It turns out it was the most valuable card in the game. So valuable, in fact, that a black market started around it, and people were like making other websites to trade Empower for actual money. Like, now. Okay, here I am again. So when I first did research for this, I didn't really understand
what the Empower market was. Because when I first played this game, I'm not doing any black market stuff. I'm 5. So, I found that video by Gladrock, and it explained it a lot better, so I understood it better. The idea behind the Empower black market is that you can't give people gold in the game. Like, there's no way to, like, give another player gold, and most items weren't tradable. So, you could trade any treasure card in the game, however, and so people decided to use this as like a transference for gold, and Empower was the treasure card that had the most worth in the game, so it quickly became the card that everyone was using to trade for things that they wanted within the game. But you're just giving the person money, and that money is just being transferred through Empower. And there's like a whole website that communicates like how many Empower treasure cards are equal to what items, or how much trading would be worth. Basically a whole community set up to... Are you serious? A whole community set up to trade these specific cards. There's not really much to it aside from that. I guess there's this one point where, like, they tried to give players more storage for treasure cards, because storage in that sense is limited. And then they removed that feature because they felt like people were storing too many treasure cards already, and that upset a lot of people because, you know, the black market was less effective because you could hold less of these items. Look at this cool animation! I never noticed that. Is that new? I never noticed the stone thing at the top. I'm pretty sure that's new, actually. Also, this is the king of New Colossus Boulevard. I forgot what he called. Whatever. Back to the video.
Not even crowns, just real world money. So there's this spell called Orthrus, which is like the big myth spell at the end of Arc 1, where you summon a dog with 2 heads and he attacks people. But it also, like, the animation for it, there's a moon in the animation, and the moon has a scary face on it. Like, it scared a lot of kids. Its face was very scary.
Oh, they changed it?
Then they changed it, right? And people were like, okay, that makes sense. And then, like, 2020 rolls around, and they change it back to the scary face for some reason.
Yeah.
No one knows why they changed the face back.
Is it actually? Never mind.
Are you alright?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay.
I have a big dog now.
There used to be, like, every time you reach a certain rank of level, you would get like an...
Oh, what the hell?
Yeah, like imagine, so get this, I'm 8 years old, right? And I'm like, oh man, I'm a myth wizard, I really want to summon an Orthrus. That starts playing with the Roblox horror music around it. So, can you imagine?
I want to make that my discord.
It goes hard, actually.
It does go kind of hard, I gave it a lot.
Okay, so... Okay, anyways, every time you level up, you get a certain rank. So, like, you start off as, like, you start off, Ed!
I'm sorry.
You start off as, like, a rookie sorcerer, for instance, or a novice sorcerer,
Yes.
and then you get to level 10, you become a rookie sorcerer.
I remember when I was a novice sorcerer.
Guy, what are these dogs doing? What are they doing?
Stop.
Ludo!
You're interrupting the
Play
lecture.
nice.
Ludo, demerit.
Demerit, Ludo.
Hello, Toast. This is why we love Toast more.
What?
Ludo, come on.
He's trying to bite his toes.
Oh, we're at pretzels rating?
What? No.
Okay.
To the dog.
Gotcha.
Okay. Anyways.
Toast, why are you going with it?
There, like, every time you get a level, you might get a new rank. So if you're like at level 10, you get rookie or whatever. At level 15, you get journeyman or whatever. At level 80, you used to get a rank called omnipotent.
Ooh.
And religious people had an issue with this. Only God can be omnipotent.
Well,
So-
there's literally a tree god who's omnipotent in this game.
Yeah. So anyways, they changed it to Archmage. And that's the story. So do you guys know what Glassdoor is? Like the website Glassdoor?
Yes.
Okay, if you don't know, Glassdoor is a website where people post like reviews from working at a place. So if you worked at a Wendy's, you'd post a review like working at this Wendy's sucked.
Wendy's nuts.
Wendy's nuts. So the Glassdoor reviews for Kingsisle have become really infamous because it turns out, because like a lot of gaming companies, Kingsisle is not really polite to their employees, and so a lot of stories came out through the Glassdoor reviews. There's one review in particular that became really infamous about, like, if you commented on anything, like if you recommended any way they could make more money, you were fired. Like if you said, hey, what if we make more of the game free, you were fired. Or if you were like, hey, what if we allow you to buy elixirs with gold instead of actual fucking money, you got fired. Just for recommending it. Right? And so this was people had an issue with this, obviously because it's what the fans want too, is more game for free, because that's the issue people have, is that they get to Triton Avenue and the game's fucking boring, and all this shit's happening, like fucking Azteca? You serious? Azteca fucking slaps, bro. The world is ending while you're going through it, you're just, Majora's Mask is just in the middle of this fucking game, it's sick.
I mean, I feel like making more of this game free might have been a bad idea.
Why?
So the game is very repetitive, right?
Okay, yeah.
And this was kind of a cultural phenomenon, but if kids were allowed to play it long enough to get bored of it, they would never keep buying. So it makes sense to have a model that really only targets the people who are likely to keep throwing through from the very beginning.
I mean, I guess, but also, like, if you get further in the game, you have more commitment to it, right? Because right now, you get to, like, it's specifically designed so you get to level 9, so you can't get your level 10 spell. So you have to buy and pay money to get your level 10. If you can get through more of the game, you might get your rank 5 spell, and that commitment will make you want to get your level 6 spell, right? Or your rank 6 spell. And that's kind of the idea that people have with making Wizard City free. Like, make more of the game free, so you can get this, and you really want to get to Krokotopia to get your next spell or whatever. They've done specials where, like, Wizard City was free for a week, or, like, for the rest of December, all of Arc 1 is free, which is really nice. So, by the way, once this lecture goes up, that's not going to be a thing anymore, so sorry about that. But, yeah, they do things where, like, they'll make more of the game free, but they need to do something permanently so people stick around, right? Because right now people play the free trial and leave, and then when I try to recommend it to my friends, they play through Triton Avenue and then they quit because they don't want to spend money on Wizard 101. Also, there was a Glassdoor review where someone commented that employers or like their managers would walk into the break room and just start eating an immense amount of ice cream while talking about the employee's race for some fucking reason. Like, I just imagine this guy walking in, like, it's not a Ben and Jerry's thing. It's like a fucking tub of ice cream, and they're just eating it, and it's like, so you're black, right? Yeah. It's just so fucking weird.
It sounds like a fucking fever dream.
Yeah. Okay, so back when the game first came out, before even I played it, right? Because I played this game right around when it first came out. Ambrose's voice was very different. It sounded like John Freeman, who was Gordon Freeman's brother from Half-Life: Full Life Consequences. Does anyone know about this?
Actually, my brother just started playing all of the Half-Life side games, so yes.
Yeah. So for some reason he sounds like Gordon Freeman, or John Freeman, who was Gordon Freeman's brother, you know. The game tried to release in China at one point, and because China has a lot of policies around what you can and can't put in your games, they had to censor, like, Skeletal Dragon and Skeletal Pirate. So instead they made the Skeletal Dragon like a brown cow that you summon. They made the Skeletal Pirate just like a puppet.
Is that affecting the American version?
No, it doesn't affect the American version at all. But it's just kind of weird that these spells existed at some point, and the thing is there's no record of them existing, right? Because it wasn't successful in China. They shut the game down very quickly after they launched it in that region. So there's no way to see these spell animations. There's no record of them existing.
Maybe nobody even ever got to the brown cow level.
I mean, there are photos of, like, the card existing, so at the very least someone went into the files and pulled them out. But maybe it was just never summoned. Maybe these spells just weren't summoned ever. So, yeah. What else? Wizard 101, obviously, is a game made by Kingsisle, and then they later made Pirate 101, which comes... The games, Pirate 101 is just a fucking other game. No one really cares about it. It gets referenced in Novus for some reason, but I guess it's just to try and get more people to play Pirate 101.
When Roland was in middle school, he came up with a pen and paper RPG that was completely ripping off Pirate 101.
I never played Pirate 101! What are you talking about? It was just pirates.
Well, I remember playing Pirate 1 and being like, fuck, this is the same plot.
Okay, well maybe me and King's Isle, great minds think alike, you know what I'm saying? Anyways, these weren't the only two games they made, because they also they've been making games since Wizard 101, and they were all like shitty mobile games that no one played. Their first attempt at this was a game called Wizard Blocks, and Wizard Blocks...
Wizard Blocks.
Literally BLOX, right? And Wizard Blocks is basically just a tile swiping game. It's just like a basic puzzle game for iOS. And no one fucking played it, and so no one bought it, and it fucking failed, right? And so have all their other games.
Oh.
That's just my phone.
That's Wizard Blocks.
I see.
Two screenshots.
There's a bit of a
my phone
Mandela
cracked?
effect thing
Oh,
surrounding...
it's not.
Oh, they also have Rough Guardian.
Rough Card, yeah, another game by King's Isle. There's a bit of a Mandela effect going on with Wizard 101 because there's this spell called Heckhound, right? But some people remember at one point it was called Hellhound and they thought it was censored. As someone who's been playing this game for a long fucking time, it was always Heckhound. I can confirm this. Some people just get the spells confused because, like, heck, hell, you know. Anyways, last thing I'm going to comment on is that there's a lot of weird stuff in the houses in Wizard 101. They released a house for the dark when they released Darkmoor as a like dungeon you could go through. They released like a house to go along with it that you could buy for real fucking money, like $20 or something, right? Except in the Darkmoor house, they had a noose just hanging on a tree for some fucking reason, and people were like, "Hey, why the fuck?" And then it was quietly removed a week later.
I bet that artist got fired.
Someone got fired for that blunder. But after hearing this story, I remember other shit in the houses in Wizard 101 that no one has ever talked about. So, by the way, in the ice house, like the ice school house, if you're in ice school, you can pay like 20 real world dollars for it. And in that ice house, there is a gobbler frozen under the ice that is still alive, still blinking, and you can see him. And it's really creepy and weird, and it scared me as a kid. In the death school house, the boiler in the house is alive and like yells and shit for some reason.
Does
It's
it
like-
yell words or does it just scream?
It just screams. It's like the piano from Mario 64 where it's just like, I'm like, whatever.
Okay, so the Darkmoor house, right? The Darkmoor house was specifically introduced into the game as part of the Witch Hunters bundle, and the idea was that it was based on the Salem witch trials, and that might be why there's a noose in the game. The implications of the Salem witch trials happening in the universe of wizardry is a little bit too much for a kid's game, I believe. But I noticed that because I very faintly remember exploring the houses in this game as a kid, and I didn't actually know, I didn't like clarify before I gave the lecture if like the houses had the things that I was thinking they would have. So this is how you would view the houses for like if you were planning on buying them. Of course I'm not because I like money. Yes, thank you, Merle. So I'm going to explore these houses that were introduced way back when I first started playing the game. But there's a specific section in the ice house that I remember. I believe it's over here where you can see... There it is, I can see it from here. Yeah, what? Why is this in the game? This freaked me out as a kid, I believe you. You can see a blink! You can see a blink! This is terrifying to young Roland. Houses. Oh gosh. I believe the Death House, right, the Death House was the one that I mentioned as well. Alright, so again, thank you for the house tour. These houses were really cool though. I sort of wish they weren't $100, I believe. Probably closer to 10, but whatever. It's a lot of money. No, it's $20. It's $20 for these houses. Oh, there it is. Okay, I remember it being way scarier. Like it would like reach out and attack and whatever. But I guess the child imagination just got to me, and I thought I just put this in the same part of my brain as the piano from Mario 64. But like you could see how this might freak a kid out, right? Maybe a little bit. Maybe I was a little too much of a wuss.
But that's all I wanted to talk about for this aside before we get into Arc 3. You have now graduated from Ravenwood Academy, everybody!
Oh, it's okay, Ludo. It's okay.
I'm just really excited.
Congratulations! Everybody's here to congratulate you. Merle Ambrose is... Hey, congratulations! You saved the world twice, but this is your biggest achievement ever!
Congratulations.
Congratulations! Also, Bartleby is sick, apparently. Like, he got sick. And so, Merle Ambrose pulls you aside and is like, hey, could you run an errand for me? Go to Polaris and get some medicine for Bartleby.
Hey, kid, God's dying.
Hey.
Hey, now that you graduated, can you do some work for free?
Yeah, exactly. So he sends you to Polaris to get some medicine for Bartleby, right? And Polaris is France, basically. It's like ice France.
I was not going to guess that one.
It's North Pole mixed with France. Like you have French penguins called penguins.
Paris, Polaris.
Oh, I actually never got
Yeah, pull
that.
the old out of Polaris, you just got Paris.
So basically, you go there and you need to figure out where this person named Baba Yaga is.
What? Wait, that's Russian.
In Polaris.
Yaga.
And you go. And you go.
Russia, cold France, right?
So you go to Polaris, and you got to figure out where Baba Yaga is. So you go to talk to Baba Yaga's old assistant, whose name is Ivan or whatever. And you go to talk to Ivan,
No,
but
Ivan's the tree.
there's another character called Ivan. Demerit. Anyways. You talk to Ivan, but except you can't talk to Ivan because he's locked away in the Bastille, and you have to raid the Bastille in order to free Ivan. So you have to team up with the Revolution in Polaris. So you team up with all these French penguins to raid the Bastille, save Ivan, and then Ivan's like, "Oh yeah, thanks for saving me. Baba Yaga's over there." So you go over to Baba Yaga, and when you get to Baba Yaga's house, in front of Baba Yaga's house is this woman called Mallory. And Mallory is really special because she's Grandmother Raven's daughter.
Ooh.
No one knows how she exists because the Titans are also their children. So Mallory's existence is a bit of an anomaly right now.
Does the narrator have anything interesting to say about this?
The narrator never has anything interesting to say unless she's like literally just voicing Grandmother Raven. Even though Grandmother Raven is the voice, it's confusing. She doesn't really comment on anything aside from when she's like giving her thoughts as Grandmother Raven. So Mallory is here and she's like, "Oh, cool, you're a wizard too, I'll help you." Okay. And you're friends with Baba Yaga? Okay, cool. And you talk to Baba Yaga and you forgot about getting the medicine by the way. You're like, "Hi Baba Yaga, I meant to talk to you about something." And Baba Yaga's like, and so you fucking forgot about the medicine, right? And so you go all the way to Baba Yaga's house, and Baba Yaga's like, "Hey, cool, go talk to the Auroracle real quick. I think you should need to talk to the Auroracle." And so you go and you speak to the Auroracle, and the Auroracle is like, it basically talks a bunch about what's going to happen, and specifically says the spiral will end the way it began, with a broken heart.
Oh.
And so you do a bunch of shit, and basically the whole plot is that there's this guy called Rasputin, and Rasputin's trying to destroy the world by making an artificial titan out of borealis crystals or whatever, and he's trying to break this thing called the Sky Anchor, which is keeping the land and sky together, and so you stop him, right? So, because that's kind of weird. Why? I mean, I know you're... What the fuck is... Stop. This isn't a flex, dude. What are you doing?
Roland.
And so Rasputin, borealis crystals, making an artificial titan, destroy the world. Cool flex, whatever. Okay. Turns out Rasputin is Grandfather Spider's son, and is actually Rat.
Is actually what?
His name is Rat. He's actually Rat.
Okay.
Like a rat. So you...
Okay.
He's just a fucking rat fucking around in ice France, and you...
By the way, is this where we learn about the original three gods and all that stuff?
No, because we knew about them in Chrysalis. We knew about them before, but this is where we're getting like more lore about them.
Did everything you told... When did we learn what you told us at the very beginning of this lecture? Gotcha.
We learned about it at some point. They pick very weird locations to teach us about stuff. Like I said, there are just some side quests where people talk at you about gods or whatever, and I didn't understand that shit because I was 8. But yeah, I'm pretty sure like there were points definitely before Chrysalis, because it was known by Chrysalis who Old Cobb was, or who Grandfather Spider was. But. You beat Rat, you saved Polaris, you do the thing. Congratulations, everybody. Now that you've done that, and you've also just fucking forgot to get Bartleby medicine, Merle Ambrose explains to you that there's the back when the Arcanum existed. Remember the Arcanum from the beginning of the lecture?
Yes.
No.
The Arcanum were the like first people to learn about magic, and then they split off between I forgot what the second thing, but it was the Arcanum, and it started with a C. It was like cultist, coven, whatever. There's a gang of people from the Arcanum who are trying to restart the first world, and Malistair gave them the Eye of History for some fucking reason, and the Eye of History that Bartleby is supposed to have is in Mirage, owned by that name that I forgot. And so you basically go through it, and you're like, ooh, I gotta help people. I guess I'm gonna overthrow another government, because there's this guy called Xerxes in charge, and he's kind of...
Okay, so Mirage is Persia themed?
Mirage is Persia, yeah. It's like Arabian Nights kind of shit going on right now. And you're doing that shit, and it's like, ooh, desert, Mirage, whoa. Who fucking cares? Basically, you fight Xerxes, and it turns out he's also Grandfather Spider's son, Scorpion, and you beat Scorpion. And it turns out Grandfather Spider is also in Mirage, and is working with that group of people that started with a C, and I forgot the name. So, does anyone remember like a name for a group, like a coven, a cult, starts with a C? Anyone?
Coalition.
Coalition, no.
A church?
Company.
It's something like that. I have it in my notes. I'll look through it while I speak my mind on this. But Grandfather Spider is here, and you're like, okay, that's bad. The Arcanum is here because they think the world's about to end. That's bad. Because remember, it was an escape raft.
Oh.
Yeah. Let me look through the fucking thing. Where's the name? The Cabal. It's a Cabal. It's called the Cabal. The Cabal is working with Grandfather Spider for some reason to reawaken the first world. And you go over there, and Grandfather Spider is also here, and it's like, oh fuck, that's a lot of people. That's God right there. Okay. And you basically talk to this thing called the Chronicle at some point, and the Chronicle explains some shit that I don't remember, but whoa, it's history, it's foreshadowing to the fact that you're about to learn right now that the reason Grandfather Spider is doing all this is because his heart is in Imperia. Remember when the spiral was created by some power source in the center of the world? That was Grandfather Spider's heart. Raven ripped it out and put it in the center of the world.
Fair enough.
That's why Grandfather Spider is angry and doing all this shit. And
justified.
So, if you kill Grandfather Spider, his heart stops, thus the spiral ends. If Grandfather Spider gets what he wants, he takes his heart back and the world ends. The only way to solve this is to put him back in the black hole. So, I mean, God did that last time, and she's not here right now, so,
Sorry guys, the god you're trying to communicate with right now is unavailable.
And anyways, Spider's doing that, and Spider, with the work at the Cabal, kidnaps Mallory, like Grandmother Raven's daughter. And that's bad. What the fuck? And then you go back home. Mirage, everybody.
Woo! 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 So far, Arc 2 is beating Arc 3.
Okay, this is where shit is gonna get crazy, because Imperia is... Like, Chrysalis was split into 2 parts, like they did half now, half later sort of thing, because Chrysalis was really long. Imperia does this as well, but there's even more plot going on. Because most of Chrysalis was like, could you find some bees for me? Imperia is like, hey, God is attacking the world, and another God is trying to stop him. So yeah, Turns out Imperia is the center of the spiral, and you have to go there because Grandfather Spire is headed there to get his heart back. You got to stop him, but there's not you can't just teleport to Imperia because it's like this lost civilization kind of shit going on in Imperia. You have to take the Arcanum there because it's like an arc you can fly. So you need a crew of people. Except this is already people have already attempted this before, and they crashed the Arcanum there. But they repaired it and got it back or whatever, and some people got stranded in Imperia, but we won't talk about that. So we're taking the Ark back to Imperia, lo and behold, we crash it. And we're kind of stranded there, and that's kind of crazy. But don't worry, the previous people who crashed it there left some supplies that we need to repair our ship. It's called like the wind crystal or whatever. We need to get a wind stone, and the wind stones are all in this dungeon we have to do. So we do a fucking dungeon to get the wind stone, except it turned out this was all a trick, and the guy who was stranded here this whole time actually has the wind crystal and took our lux capacitor from our ship to repair his ship. So now we have to go find this guy Khan who took our stuff, and we are taking his stuff back. Turns out Khan is the king of Imperia too.
No, please.
So we have to go. We decide. You know what? We're both headed to Imperia. Apparently a war is going on in Imperia. Tosh, stop! I'm trying to talk. Can't you hear me? So you go to Imperia, right? And the Khan is with you there. Ooh, fun. War is happening, and you're in Imperia, and I fucking can't remember what happened. Oh, so the reason war is going on in Imperia is because the captain of the Arcanum last time the ship crashed was stranded in Imperia. Her name, or I guess his name, is Medulla, and Medulla basically is working with the Cabal now. So Medulla.
No chance Medulla's trans?
I don't think so. He's a brain.
Gotcha.
Medulla's just a floating fucking brain, and he's trying to help the Cabal get the heart out of the thing and revive the First World or whatever. So we gotta fight Medulla, except we gotta stop Medulla from doing the thing where she frees Spider's heart, but Spider's heart is stuck in the thing by 3 chains. The paradox chain of fire and ice, the paradox chain of death and life, paradox chain of storm and myth, because the paradox is
kind of cool.
Okay, so the paradox chains, they can only be destroyed by a fucking god, but Mallory will do, right? So that's why they kidnapped Mallory.
Mallory?
Mallory is Grandmother Raven's daughter.
Oh, right.
So they're using a fucking. I am going.
Are you sure it's not Mallory?
It's Mallory. Yeah, it's specifically pronounced Mallory.
How's it spelled?
Like Mellori. I'm like fucking stream of consciousing this right now because so much shit happens in Imperia. Like holy shit! Like the gods are gonna come in any moment now, and we gotta stop the chain of fire and ice from being destroyed. Except we fail at doing that because there's this character called Bat who is Grandfather Spider's 3rd son. And he was working with the Cabal, so we go and fight him, except it turned out he was trying to betray the Cabal because he was trying to stop the world from ending, and so now we've just messed up his plans to save everything, which we were trying to do too, so the paradox chain of fire and ice is destroyed. There are 2 more chains remaining. 1 more chain gets destroyed and the thing is free, right? Uh-oh. But at least we defeat Medulla. We beat up Medulla. That's cool. But the Cabal is still planning their plans to plan the plan of destroying the paradox chain of life and death.
Oh, is Cabal the word you're looking for that started with C?
I did mention that
Okay.
before, yes. The Cabal. Mallory dies because all her magic got used to destroy that first chain. So we might want to do something about. By the way, we just start resurrecting people now. Like that was a big deal before. We're gonna bring Mallory back. Don't you worry.
Dragon Ball in this.
Poor Malistair.
Poor Malistair. Everyone else can do it but him apparently. So Mallory's dead, and we go back to the Arcanum to help Mallory come back to life. And it turns out she's stuck in the astral plane. And the astral plane is basically this place between everything and more of those.
Toast
You can start the recording with a video of Toast just vibing.
Oh, we can start it?
Yeah, start it now. Oh hi, I didn't see you there. So last time we left off, Mallory died, right? Mallory is dead. Except not really, because her spirit is in the astral plane, a place between everything and nothing. Everything is just everything that exists, and the nothing is a sentient void. So Mallory is dead, right?
Yeah.
So we gotta go. The thing about the astral plane is that people from the spiral can't go there because whatever reason. But you're not from the spiral, you're from Earth, so you can actually go there. So people teach you how the astral plane works. And how to get
that's
there.
cool that actually comes back into canon.
Yeah, it does come into the canon. It's also partially why you're so important in this world. So you go into the astral plane after Mallory to save her, and you find that she's talking to her mom, Grandmother Raven. And Grandmother Raven is talking to her like, oh, I'm glad you're safe right now, even though you're about to die. By the way, the thing is that I'm the grandfather spider, right? He's gonna end the world by stealing his heart back. And there's a lot of war going on because of that, and I don't like war. So I'm just gonna fucking kill him. And everyone's like, hey, that would end the world. And Grandmother Raven's like, I know. So now 2 gods are trying to end the world, right?
Fuck, this is too much.
Bartleby is dying, by the way. He still hasn't gotten his medicine. But we do save Mallory. Mallory comes back, and she's fine, although she still needs time to recover. And we get interrupted with our chat by the Council of Light. Merle Ambrose just bursts into the door, is like, what the fuck's going on over here?
Oh my god.
And they basically, all the Council of Light, Diego, no comments, and Emperor Yoshihito, Lydia Grey Rose, they're all here, and they're basically saying, like, hey, you should not be in charge of the most important object in the universe right now, which is a woman, right? So they're like...
When was this arc made?
2019. So everyone's like, maybe you should, yeah, well, we don't want the world to end, so we're gonna work together, right? And they're working together or whatever, and, that's what's going on with there. But Merle Ambrose pulls you aside and is like, yo, Bartleby's dying, could you do something about that?
Remember, you...
Are you done running those errands?
Are you done running those errands? So you go back to Bartleby, right? And he's like, oh man, I'm dying right now, and I have something really important that I need to tell Mallory. And so you go through the thing, and you go, because he has a pestilence in his roots. So you literally just go into his roots and fight the pestilence. Who is like a rank 12 boss.
He doesn't even need the medicine to go in.
You just go into his roots and fight the thing that's killing him, right? And so you do all that, and he's like, listen, I need to tell Mallory something very important. But I can't talk to her right now. Could you send me could you connect our minds together for us, please? You can do that in Imperia. There's this place called the Reverie where all minds meet, and you can go there and connect my mind to Mallory's, and we can chat, right? And so you do that, and there's a little thing. There's this guy called the Curator who takes you.
That's very tree-like, actually. Our nodes touch to communicate.
Yeah, and there's you go through the Reverie, there's this guy called the Curator, he's like, this is where minds meet, whatever. And then you go inside Mallory's mind, and you find out that she was born from Grandmother Raven's love of Grandfather Spider. She literally, after trapping Grandfather Spider in the hole, literally ripped this part of her out of her, and gave it to Baba Yaga to take care of. It's like, Baba Yaga, you go take care of my love for Grandfather Spider, who has gained sentience and is now a grand wizard or whatever.
Hold homunculus.
Hold my homunculus for me. So, that's where Mallory comes from, and Grandmother Raven basically explains that she's going to kill Grandfather Spider, thus ending the world. And also explains that she's the one who poisoned Bartleby. She poisoned Bartleby so that he wouldn't interfere with her killing Spider.
Oh my, these gods suck.
These gods are kind of assholes, right? Kind of little dicks.
Not even that's just human. No, they suck.
Yeah.
They really suck.
They're kind of just dicks all the time, everywhere. So, that's bad. So Mallory is up to speed on all this because Bartleby messaged this to Mallory, and You team up with Mallory, and also Rat's been captured by like an enemy faction, and they're trying to use Rat because Rat is Grandfather Spider's son. So they're trying to use Rat to destroy another one of the paradox chains, thus freeing Spider's heart. Right? So we got to go and save Rat and stop that. Except while we do save Rat, it's too late. They already fired the beam, the Rat beam, and sorry, not Rat, Bat. Holy, I'm getting my character. The Bat laser. They fire
the bat laser, bro.
and the chain of life and death is destroyed.
Ooh.
Now Spider's heart is just free, and the world is shaking. Everything's just fucking rumbling around. The world is unstable right now. But you save Bat, you have to like sort of repair him because same thing with Mallory, but this time you can just give him some shadow magic and he's good. So you give him some shadow magic, you take him to like Shadow Lake or whatever in the Chaos Jungles, you give him shadow magic, and then Grandfather Spider shows up and is like, hey you kid, stop fucking up my plans. And then Grandmother Raven comes in and is like, hey you, stop fucking up my plans. And then Bartleby comes in and is like, guys, can't we all just get along?
Oh, he's a centrist.
They're like, fuck, no. And then they all race to the husk, the center of Imperia where Grandfather Spider's heart is. The world, everything is landing on this one thing. Whoever takes it either saves or destroys the world. So you rush to the husk, right? And it's a 2-hour dungeon. And so the thing is, what makes the husk interesting is that, is that a Triton is sleeping in there. And what's going on?
Nothing.
Okay.
My phone buzzing. I am checking it.
All right. Oh shit. There's a Triton in the center of Imperia, which like the Storm Titan, so a god also, demigod kind of thing going on. But he's asleep. But he's waking up because the world is shaking, and he's like, "What's disrupting my?"
Do we
nap?"
remember this sleeping guy from somewhere earlier?
No, he's like a Triton, a Storm Titan.
Okay.
So it's just a Storm Titan. He's about to wake up, and that's bad because he would also destroy the world if he woke up. So thankfully, Mallory knows the Titanic lullaby and sings it and puts the Titan to sleep. But then Grandfather Spider shows up and is, hey, stop fucking up my plan. I'm trying to get my heart back. And stop Grandmother Raven. Grandmother Raven's like, no, shut the fuck up. Die, you fucker. And then Bartleby comes in and is like, hi, guys. Can't we all just get along?
Remember when y'all were in love?
Yeah. Guys, you were in love once. Don't you remember? And then, like, their arguments awaken the Storm Titan. So the Storm Titan's awakened now, and they're both arguing. The heart's right there, by the way. The heart's right fucking there, dangling on a thread.
The messiest fucking divorce.
The messiest fucking divorce. So, here's the thing, right?
And this is all over a fucking poem.
So, here's the thing, right? Throughout the game, all the bosses have like ranks to them to describe how powerful they are. So like a rank 1 boss would be like Lady Blackhope in Unicorn Way or whatever. A rank 10 boss would be like more powerful than Malistair, right? A rank 20 boss we fight near the end of the game, right? This Storm Titan is a rank 999 fucking boss.
Fuck off.
You're not gonna beat this guy. This guy has a more billion health, right?
I'm not gonna sugarcoat it.
I'm not gonna sugarcoat this. Spirit of all storm magic, which is the most damaging type of magic.
I ain't gonna hold you, bro.
I ain't gonna hold you, bro. Oh man, so how are we going to beat this guy? Is there any theories?
Pray.
Myth.
Pray.
Myth magic.
Myth magic, that's a good theory.
Is this one of those cutscene bosses you're supposed to lose? And...
No.
Oh, the game actually expects you to cheese your win?
You want to know how to beat this guy?
I want to know.
You want to know? So you become God, right? Basically,
You Valis it.
So here's the thing, right? When you helped Bartleby get the pestilence out of his body, you became like a scion to Bartleby, right? You became like his apprentice, and he sort of like you became a part of him or whatever. It's fucking weird and it doesn't make sense, but you're like you have Bartleby essence in you. Mallory's the daughter of Grandmother Raven. And Bat is the son of Grandfather Spider, and so the two of them take their energy together, two opposites combining together towards you, creating a paradox of everything. You are a divine paradox now.
I feel like paradox is just the word they throw out to...
Yeah.
It's like they're quantum.
It's just like when things are opposite. It's a paradox. You are now quantum, yeah. Divine paradox. You become the divine paradox. And this just comes out of fucking nowhere and isn't explained at fucking all. So you're God now for all intents and purposes, and you fight the Storm Titan, and it's designed so you just have really strong spells you can throw out whenever, and you just throw out spells until one of you wins, and you win. You beat the Storm Titan, guys.
Sweat.
And then Grandmother Raven looks around and is like, wow, you defeated the Storm Titan through teamwork. You guys got along? And Grandfather Spider's like, huh, that is weird. And Bartleby's like, so are you guys done fighting? And they say, yeah. What? I think we're going to work together to protect the Spiral from now on.
What?
As husband and wife.
You literally put the multiverse through hell, and I'm like, oopsie, like, no, kill them both.
No, you see? They're now guardians of the world.
Fuck that shit, bro. Oh my
Part of this
god.
whole like thing was when the Storm Titan woke up and said it's order time.
Yeah, I like that part too. So anyways, that's Arc 3, everybody.
Yeah! Fuck yeah! Woo!
What did you guys think? Was that better?
Yeah, Arc 3 tops Arc 2. I like how it gets increasingly insane. Because we started out in Arc 1, and it was like the most generic fantasy plot you can possibly imagine.
Yeah.
And we finally transcended to some Final Fantasy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's refreshing to kind of be officially in like their lore zone.
Yeah.
Even
yeah.
if that lore isn't the best all the time, at least it's their own, you know?
This is how people thought Steven Universe ended.
Steven Universe not end with friendship? How does that end? I forgot, honestly.
The
Is
last
that including
season
Steven
was
Universe
bad.
Future? I don't know. Whatever.
Future was...
So, that's, for all intents and purposes, that's the end of Wizard 101. They keep making it because it's the only thing that makes King's Isle money. But, like, the stuff after this is just where they're like, okay, we did all that serious shit. Now we're going to go to Food World. We go to Whole Cake Island.
Oh, Carmel?
I thought so.
Are they essentially like restarting with a new major 3-part story arc now?
No, this is Arc 4. They're just doing another arc after this. But, like, we killed a god, so, like, where the fuck are we going to go with this, right? So before we get to that, there's a little bit of an elephant in the room that I haven't talked about. And I honestly didn't hear about it until you, Ed, told me. Wizard 101 got hacked recently?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, did you guys hear about this?
I did not.
No.
Okay.
Elaborate.
So, I'm going to pull out my phone for notes, but basically, September 21st, 2022, so like literally weeks after I stopped playing the game for a while because I had to work on schoolwork, people who were playing Wizard 101 suddenly got weird messages that showed up on their screen. These messages read, "I fucking hate my job. King's Isle is the worst company I have ever worked for. Email support at wizard101.com so I can get a raise. Dick and balls. Fuck. The wizard police are after me. Bradley, come down to the stairs this instant." Quote from my CEO. "The next world is my boss's asshole.
I know this fucker is Gen Z.
My name is Walter Hartwell White. I live at 308 Negra Arroyo Lane, Albuquerque, New Mexico, 87104. This is my confession. We apologize for the issue. All impacted players will receive a compensation of up to 60,000 crowns."
Darn.
So, it's up for debate whether it's still up for debate, like, who did this or what. King's Isle claims that this was done by a third-party hacker. A lot of people think it's an employee because it's a person complaining about their job. I think it's actually a Gen Z fucking quirky hacker person because they're referencing fucking Walter White and shit, like Gen Z memes.
Well, this was also a meme that other companies have done, where like all of a sudden some employee hacked like the Twitter page. Yeah.
Oh, I guess it's possible.
And so I feel
But
like this is already a trending joke, so this seems like something, if a teen hacked, they would put...
Okay, but this is a game that has
focused on targeting towards children. Even if children aren't playing this fucking game, it's targeted at kids, and they're saying, dick and balls, fuck, the wizard police are after me, the next world is my boss's asshole. Which turns out was true, by the way. But anyways. So, if you couldn't figure out, working for KingsIsle turns out to fucking suck, apparently.
No
we
shit.
talked about how, like, people were getting fired for suggesting ideas that might help with making money. The people have complained about how the compensation, like, they're being paid very little, and I don't actually know if they're being forced to crunch or not, but that's so common in video games that I wouldn't be surprised. And I think I would be surprised if, like, they weren't actually.
Based on some of the plot lines.
Yeah. So, how does Wizard 101 make their money? Because they do not have a big player base, so $10 a month from all of them is not going to fund a fucking MMO, right? Even if it's 10% of players, get the fuck off your phones.
Oh, what?
I was being asked if we want pretzels now or later, and I'm replying later. How dare I?
I'm sorry, but like
Demerit, Roland.
No, that's 2 demerits. No, you can't ban me, the teacher. One more and I'm kicked out. Demerit. No. Can I come back?
Yeah,
Alright guys, so welcome to my Sonic Unleashed.
And go.
Okay, so Sonic Unleashed, 2008 action platformer developed by Sega as a means to sort of save face, sort of do damage control after. No, Toast.
Toast has spoken. We're going back to Wizard 101.
Okay.
So fucking shit. Never mind.
So how does Wizard 101 make their money? Because it's a game from 2008 that nobody plays anymore, and even less people pay money to play. So how do you think they get their funding for the game? No
The
cash
few
shop.
addicts.
Cash shop? Okay.
Cash out, let's go.
Drug money.
What if they sold card packs for money? Like,
Cash
you know,
out, let's
card
go.
packs and stuff? Except people didn't want to buy the card. So what if we just put everything in the card packs? From mounts to equipment to everything like that? Loot boxes even, maybe, we'll call them. In our kids game for real money. Yeah, ooh.
No.
Baby. Yeah, so that's how Wizard 101 makes most of their money. They sell like card packs with cool loot in them that everyone wants, and so people buy the card packs to get like the new mount, and then they have to buy like 100 of them to get the right one. It turns out that at some point, like they start making card packs that are like revisions of old card packs that have new loot in them. And every time people, like, it says on the thing, like, all the possible things you can get. It's like old loot, new loot, and then no one can get the new loot from that card pack, no matter how many they buy.
I feel like there's a lawsuit somewhere in there.
There might, I mean, who's gonna sue them? What? You? Tyler, you wanna get on that? In May of 2016, KingsIsle laid off 80 employees out of nowhere, and it was made very clear by people who got laid off that this was a majority of the company. So people thought Wizard 101 was just going to end. This was around Chrysalis, I think. This was around when Chrysalis came out. So people thought that the game was just done, right? There was going to be no more content. Or the game was just going to close down and forever. Like all other children's MMOs from 2008. You know, Monkey Island. Monkey Quest. Toontown. Pop Tropica is still going, but Club Penguin, all these fucking games.
That really was an end of an era.
Yeah, and somehow Wizard 101 has been going on this whole time without shutting down. People thought this would be the end, and thankfully it wasn't. Although, to be honest, if the game did end, someone would probably put the stuff together to make it work again, but this time everything would be free, so that would have been cool.
Well, you only spent $10 on this, right?
30.
Ooh.
$30.
For 3 months.
For 2 months, and then I bought a mount.
Bottom out.
And started from the bottom, now I'm here. Basically, KingsIsle is, they're doing the EA activism shit of loot box shit, sketchy employee, no, layoff bad, pink slip, whatever, fuck. And the thing is that they're jumping in this money hole that doesn't exist. There's no money to be made from Wizard 101. It's not like fucking FIFA, where like every human being on Earth buys the new FIFA and then pays $100 for the card packs. There's no money pit here. There's nothing to be made.
Killing Roland.
This is the toll Wizard 101 is taking on his body.
So, like, what the fuck do you do at this point? Because if you keep monetizing it more and more, you're jumping into a dumpster that's on fire and also next to Pirate 101. You could be nice to your you could make more of this free and people would like you more, and sure, you might not make money, but at least you're not fucking jumping in the dumpster fire. You're putting water on it or something.
I feel like Wizard 101 is a valuable IP only in that our generation has nostalgia for it.
But most of us have vague nostalgia for it, right?
Yeah, so
most people didn't remember Wizard 101 until this lecture showed up and they're recommended, right? Like, no one had thought about Wizard 101 since Chrysalis, and the only reason they thought about it recently is because it got hacked, like it was in a negative light. And then they thought, wait, Wizard 101 is still going? So, that's mostly what I wanted to talk about between 3 and 4, and Arc 4 is just the silly arc. This is where things get really funny and goofy. They're on their One Piece grind. By the way, this whole shit is like One Piece because you're traveling from world to world solving problems, and it's kind of related to the main plot. But
Ed, I don't trust his opinions. Is this true?
I mean, it's One Piece in the sense that it has a plot and things happen. But I think that's
it's One Piece in the sense that you're going from world to world that have their own intricate workings.
I wouldn't call these intricate workings.
Oh my god.
Azteca! Come on!
You know, Sonic Unleashed is a lot like One Piece.
Demerit! Shut up! Okay. We're gonna talk about Caramel, right? So, Caramel, you basically like, okay, you saved the world, why don't you take a vacation and go to Food Planet? So you go to like Food Planet, right? And there's like, oh, you go to the Swiss mountains and they have food there. Also, the Cabal is still around and is being led by the old one.
Forgot about them.
Yeah, remember the old one from the Arcanum? It turns out his name is very misleading. He's like, I mean, he's still very old, but like,
But he's like
not
24 or something.
He's not menacingly old, and he also has this like goofy cadence to him. He's
Vegapunk.
He's Vegapunk. He's like, oh. He's cracking jokes while he's like, oh, by the way, I'm ancient, by the way. Ooh. And then he falls in a hole.
The hole?
Not the hole, a hole. A hole just opens underneath him and he falls in.
Oh.
And then the rest of the people who are part of the Cabal are like, hey, what the fuck happened? I don't know. You die. Like, so you run away and you're like, oh shit, that's bad. And you find out all the gummy worms have gone sour and they're attacking people. And they're like, oh yeah, they're gummy worms because it's Food Planet. And then you go to talk to like the person in charge of Food Planet, who's like the person in charge of the monopoly on the food production. Her name is Nana, except she's multiple people all named Nana, and they're all clones and they're all doing the work. Vegapunk. And so you go over here and Nana's like, oh, you kill witches. So you're like, okay, whatever. You go kill witches and you walk through a picket line of elves protesting Nana's working conditions. And then you go.
I love how, like, themes of colonialism and oppression are ubiquitous in this series, but always either in a joking or nonchalant manner.
Yeah, like nonchalantly, like... Do we have any more colonial? I think we're through most of the colonialism, but
That's a terrible statement to make about a video game.
But yeah, it's very nonchalantly thrown in. No, wait, Novus's entire plot is colonialism, basically. But we'll get to that. It's fucked up colonialism. We'll get to that. But
Is Lemuria something to do with their boss's asshole?
well, Novus was their boss's asshole. That was the world that came out when the game got hacked. So Novus is the boss's asshole. Please don't think about that. So, Lemuria, right? You fight a bunch of witches, and oh man, that was fun, right, guys? And then it turns out that the holes keep opening everywhere, and people start thinking maybe it's because caramel is rotting from the inside out, and that might be why there are
Oh, that's a
everywhere.
really disturbing image, actually.
Yeah,
A
that
candy
is
planet
kinda
rotting.
gross. And so you go tell Nana about this, and Nana's a bunch of people, and you fight Nana, I think, at some point. Also, to cure the sourness of the gummies that are attacking people, you get gobblers. It turns out the gobblers were the ones who made them sour, because fucking gobblers, am I right? So you make them do sweatshop labor, right?
Oh.
And their sweat actually cures the sourness of the sour gummies. So they're just like fucking enslaved, running on treadmills for all eternity while they make sweet stuff, which is their sweat.
It's like that episode of Fairly Odd Parents with the lemonade stand.
Literally that, yeah. They Cosmo'd these motherfuckers. And so you're running through, and it's like, oh wait, Nana is like a dictator or whatever. That's kind of bad. So you decide to fight Nana. And by the way, you fought God already, so who the fuck cares, right? Like, do you think you're not gonna beat Nana? Do you think you're not gonna beat Nana, right?
This is how JRPG characters feel for the rest of their life.
Yeah, like what the fuck? So you beat Nana, right? And when you defeat Nana, all of a sudden a hole opens up underneath you, and you fall into the nothing. And you get brought in front of you. You see the aberrant paradox. Remember when you became God that one time? Yeah, it turns out the only way for that to make sense is if there was an anti-you that existed.
Oh,
Sure.
In this world. And that anti-you is the nothing. Remember the nothing from the astral plane, that sentient void?
Yeah.
It has now formed as a person who is the aberrant paradox. And the reason the holes have been opening is because the nothing has been coming into the real world.
You said this was a silly arc. What the fuck is this?
So the old one is here too, right? and you fight the aberrant paradox in the nothing. You're inside of the nothing right now, fighting the paradox. And the old one's like, you know, I'm chill, right? I'm zen as fuck. I'm staying here. You go ahead. So he stays in the nothing. He gets absorbed in the nothing. He becomes the nothing. He is nothing. He is one with nothing now. Caramel, everybody. At the end of the arc, Bartleby mentions that he tried, because he now has the Eye of History and the Eye of the Future back, finally. So he tries to look into the future to see what's coming up, and he sees nothing.
Oh.
Oh, okay, that's kind of wrong.
That is kind of wrong! So, here's the thing, right? You get word that there's this world called Lemuria, right? And no one knows where Lemuria is, but apparently it's a big deal because they're dying right now. They're just suddenly starting to die.
Oh.
So you need help finding where Lemuria is, and your clues lead to the fact that the old one knows where Lemuria is.
But the old one enlightened the way.
Yeah, kind of.
We have lost Adonis. He is here no more.
Happens sometimes, you know?
We've also lost Toast and Ludo.
Happens sometimes, you know?
Not all students were cut out for this
They were very
advanced material.
disruptive.
Only the stronger man.
Yeah. So, I got my order of operations wrong with Lemuria, so I'm going to try and make this make more sense real quick. Basically, you get word that the old one had this old thing he was working on before he left the Arcanum called Project Lemuria. And basically, he had a machine that he invented that could collect worlds and put them together. And this was his experiment on how to recreate the first world, right? Except the world that he created was sort of being artificially preserved, instead, because the spiral is what provides people sustenance.
Yeah.
It acts as the sun. So he had to make a sort of artificial spiral within this place that he made.
Anti-spiral?
No, not the anti-spiral. It's just like a little bit of a life force, you know. Put a little life force in him, you know.
You can have this one, Toast. Come on. There you go. Hey, Toast came back now that there's food.
Yeah. So anyways, his office is locked up. That life support system is failing, and everyone on that world is dying.
Ooh.
So, we gotta do something.
He get into his office because they super locked
they
it.
super locked it. The only way into his office, there is one person who has magic strong enough to get into his office, and that's the old one himself. But he's nothing now, right? Except he comes back in the form of nothing. He's now like the aberrant paradox of some sort. He's taken the form of the nothing, and he's going by the name Decene now.
Sure.
So, yeah, whatever. Don't think too much about it. the scene is like, oh, people are dying, well, they need help, and I know how to help them. I will open the door, we can get in, and you work with like this other guy called Stallion Quartermain or whatever, and you get into his office, and you're there. Woo, you found the thing that's in trouble, and you saved Lemuria. Except now you've realized that you've just discovered a new planet, essentially, that hasn't been seen for centuries, millennia even.
That's pretty cool.
That's
I mean,
pretty
we've done
cool.
it before.
I mean, we've done it before, but this one's unique because it's several worlds slammed together into one because they were trying to recreate the first world. So there's a lot of investigating we want to do. And also, that machine that's combining worlds together might still be active. We want to make sure that it doesn't keep going, right? So we go into Lemuria, and we talk to the people, and they're just like, there's lemur places. Basically, the world of Lemuria is like the idea. It's named after the idea of this undiscovered continent that was supposed to be between Africa and I forgot what else, but because they discovered lemur fossils in those two areas, and so they thought, oh, there must be like a landmass that connected these two, and then it turned out Pangea existed, right? Mm-hmm. So the idea is like it's a bunch of worlds slammed together.
That's a really cute nod because it's the pre-Pangea.
Yeah. So you have like lemur world where it's like ancient Aztec, Inca Empire, lemurs, and then you have like this like film noir.
He did that.
No. You have this film noir world that's like shoved into it as well,
Ooh.
and then you have all these other different places, and like the spells you unlock for discovering Lemuria are all like different versions of the old one from different places in here. So like your storm spell, you summon like film noir old one, and he's sitting under a light post very grimly, and he electrocutes you or whatever, and it's really cool. I like it a lot.
That does feel really rewarding aesthetically for people who have played up to this point, too.
I have not been mentioning, but every world essentially comes with its own spell, and by the time they get to, like... Except for Avalon, because everyone just gets King Artorias in Avalon, but when they get to Azteca, they start running out of ideas, so they just give everyone, like, a themed spell. So in Azteca, everyone gets dinosaur spells, and in Chrysalis, everyone gets, like, shadow spells, and Polaris, everyone gets, like... snow people spells, I guess, or whatever. In Caramel, everyone got food-related spells, which was kind of lame. Lemuria, you're summoning the old one, which is really cool. And this theme will keep carrying on into Novus. But, yeah, so we gotta find the harmonic synthesizer in Lemuria to make sure that's not going on and to make sure, like, it's not reforming places. Desine has decided that he doesn't want to form the old world anymore. He doesn't want to reform the first world. He's just kind of like, hey, killing people is bad. I figured it out.
All right.
And so, what's so interesting about Lemuria is that Desine is now a party member. He's your friend now. He is like this nice old guy who gives you wisdom and helps you on your quest. And you're walking through his old work, like his old creation.
Ooh.
You go through his lab where he left all these pre-recorded messages for like people to see. Like, if you're seeing this, I'm long gone by now. My goal is to recreate the first world, and then to see.
What year did this come out?
2021. Lemuria is in 2021.
What month?
Like, I don't know. Like, probably late 2021.
What are you trying to figure out, Ed?
This came out the same time as Endwalker, which did the same.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure Endwalker would have done it first. Was it like early 2021?
Like December 2021.
Oh, this did it first then.
Oh,
Sorry.
damn, they copied Wizard 101.
Damn, Wizard 101 with the carry, am I right? But you're walking through his, and you're seeing all his old work, and he's like responding to himself from the past, going, that's not what good people do. And
That's so cool.
okay, so here's the thing, right? Because Lemuria has this weird adventure, like discovering a new world theme to it, and so you're going through it with like seasoned adventurers from across the spiral, and they're all based off of like 80s, 60s comic book heroes.
Oh.
So you have like Mandar the Barbarian, who's like you know, Conan.
Yeah.
And then you have like what was his name? Solomon Crane, who's here to help. And like
You have an Indiana Jones guy?
I think Stallion Quartermain is the Indiana Jones.
Oh,
guy.
Alan Quartermain, yeah.
Yeah. My favorite one
and you guys might make fun of me for this, but they also have like this character called the Shadow.
Oh, fuck.
And it's a deer,
Oh, fuck.
but like film noir dressed, like he like
Wait, that's
like
kinda
a
sick.
yeah, and also a deer. And my favorite, I like Shadow. She's really funny and Shadow, yeah. So you're going with these heroes. You're adventuring through like this lab to stop the thing from doing the thing, and you do it. You get the harmonic synthesizer and you bring it back to to the main hub in Lemuria, and you're discussing like, okay, we need to destroy this now. And then Stallion's like, well, hold on. This thing can create worlds, right? Why don't we just create a world with no evil? And they're like, wait, Desine's like, hey, I tried this before, guys. Trust me, this isn't gonna work out. And then they're like, wait, yeah, we could just create a world where evil doesn't exist. We would be the biggest heroes in the world. And Mandar's like, I want a world without moths. And then Shadow's like, you'll get your world without moths. And then they're all planning, they're throwing ideas together, and Desine's like, guys, stop
What
it.
about the other evil that exists elsewhere?
What other evil?
In the spiral, right?
What evil? The nothing?
Is the nothing?
Desine is the nothing.
Wait, where are we? Are we?
We're in Lemuria.
Is that in the spiral still? Or?
Yes, we are in the spiral still.
Right.
We don't need the spiral at all throughout this whole thing.
I love the
except
scene where people are just pitching ideas for the universe.
Yeah.
This is even better than
But they're
R3.
like 60s comic book superheroes too, right? You gotta keep that in mind. Like Conan the Barbarian is throwing ideas to Indiana Jones, who's all talking to fucking the Lone Ranger and shit. And like, what was the guy, Space Ace or whatever? Like the space guy? I forgot. Whatever. There's a bunch of superheroes here, and they're all like, yeah, let's make a world like this. And then they run into the office and they start getting to work, and Desine's like, okay.
Oh, Flash Gordon?
Flash Gordon! Yeah, Flash Gordon's here doing this shit. And Desine's like, okay, fuck that, right? We're gonna stop them, right? And so you walk into the office, and you meet all of them, and you fight all of them at once.
Oh,
There are 8 people here. This game normally uses a 4v4 format. So for the first time ever in this game, you have to fight 8 people at once.
This is like when Boris had to fight all the teachers.
Yes! You have to fight so many fucking people all at once. And it's such a cool fight. It's so intense. And you have to get through all of this to get here. Look at how cool this shit is. Am I right? Like, I love Azteca. I love Lemuria. Novus is really cool as well. But you have to fucking beat an MMO to get through all this. Like, I love it so much, but no one's ever going to get through this. No one's ever going to spend the time that I have researching all this. I almost didn't do that. And I was going to do a lecture on this. And that's what makes this so insane to me, is that it's so cool. And yet, of course no one's paying attention. No one can get through Wizard City. You think people are going to start fighting like zombies and go, ah man, this is going to go in some interesting directions. I can see it. People are going to get to Krokotopia finally, and like slavery is happening, and like, I see. There's going to be some interesting stuff coming up soon. And they go to Marleybone where there's like cat people are being oppressed or whatever. Like, I see. Some interesting stuff is sure to happen soon. And they finally get to like fucking Imperia, and it's like double the length of every other world, and gods are fighting or whatever. Like, I don't know, man. So, it doesn't work, right? You defeat everyone. You defeat the 8 superhero guys, but they already fucked up the harmonic synthesizer because they don't know how that shit works, and it's about to destroy everything. It's about to destroy Lemuria. Not everything, just Lemuria. But still bad. Don't want that to happen. And Desine, because he's nothing, he can absorb the harmonic synthesizer so that nothing happens, right?
So the player isn't even involved, it just gets Deus Ex.
It gets Deus Ex, but Desine dies. Desine sacrifices himself to save Lemuria. Which, big growth from the old one who wanted to create Lemuria to begin with. So yeah, it's cool. And you take the harmonic synthesizer to one of the people in the Arcanum, and they break it, and it's like, this was a musicology instrument that was used to, like, sing the song of creation, to bring things together. And Desine is dead, right? But outside of the Arcanum, you see something.
literally described as something. You get an achievement for doing this mission called Something Happened. We don't know what this is. It's something, right? And that something is now splitting into pieces and falling into a black hole. So you talk to the guy who's in charge of like the astrology shit, right? And he's like, I have no fucking clue what that is. So you start talking to like anyone, and they're like, I have no fucking clue what that is. You know what you're doing. Why don't you go over there?
Why is this already a more compelling villain than the rest of them?
I have no fucking clue. So like, you go over to the black hole, right, where all these pieces are falling into, and it's turning into like an Asherian hellscape. Like they're
Asherian?
like in Escher, like paintings from Escher.
Oh.
Like there are people like this world. It's apparently a world that is being created right now. There are like undeveloped wolves that are right now forming in front of your eyes. So they start as like polygons. And the thing is, when you come to this world, you find out that it is completely unstable. It breaks traditional, it breaks the rules of magic as we understand them. Because you can, I'm a myth, I didn't get this far, but I'm a myth guy, so I'm going to use this as an example. I'm a myth guy, I get over here, and suddenly I have a spell called Improbable Gaze, which requires me to use ice magic in mixture with myth magic. What the fuck? The combinations of magic have already been settled. You can't mix myth and ice magic and get something entirely new. That's not how it works. But somehow it does. And you summon the whale and the bowl of petunias from Hitchhiker's Guide.
That's the thing you showed us!
Yeah!
Whoa!
I found this out and it blew my mind and I love it so much. But yeah, all of magic, all the rules of magic are completely out the window now. Nothing makes sense. We don't fucking understand this. Great. So this is crazy. So you want to explore more of this weird world that's being created. Maybe we can understand what magic really is or what's going on here. Because something weird is happening. Also, Decine is the world right now. Decine apparently became Novus, which is the name of this world, Novus.
How is this their boss's butthole?
Because it's just shit. So you're running through Novus, right? And you're like, okay, we need to explore more of this world. Let's get a team of people together who are explorers, but not like last time. Right? So you contact a guy who works Emperor Yoshihito from Mushu. You contact his most esteemed guy or whatever, the guy he gets to do stuff like this, and you get them together. You talk with this cat lady named Stringcaster or whatever, and you start getting ready to head to Novus. And in order to prepare to go to Novus, you have to go through the Cave of Fears, where you have to face your own fears. Except for whatever fucking reason, they're just Stringcaster's fears, so it's all things cats are afraid of. So you have to fight pickle monsters and water and dogs, and it's really funny and I like it.
Novus is my favorite world.
Novus is so cool! So you finally get through all this and you're like, okay, we're ready to explore whatever the hell this is. You're ready to go to Novus. We good? I didn't know if that was an explosion or something.
What was that?
You alive?
That's a yes. Got it.
Yep, we're good.
On Windows 11, the select output device is right next to the maximum volume.
Okay.
Discovery for me.
So.
I apologize if Scooby-Doo interrupted your lecture.
Scooby-Doo is always welcome!
So anyways. Shit, I forgot. Oh yeah, you finally get ready to go to Novus, and you go to Novus, right? And you're like, this is the first world of its kind. It's been newly created, and we're the first people to see it. And then we see a bunch of people from Marleybone are here, and then from Polaris, and this place called Valencia we've never even seen. And there are these people called Monquistadors, and you see what's happening here, right?
Oh, no, I don't.
So the people from Marleybone are like, finally, New Marlebonia, we've finally founded it. And then the people from Penguin World, Polaris, are like, no, this is Penguin City. So they're all trying to colonize Novus already.
Oh.
Like, this world just formed already, and they're like, new territory, let's go. Like, there's, like, one of the graphics for this game is literally, like, a version... You know that, like... I forgot. Was it
that
like
famous map of Africa being carved up?
Yes, that's one of the graphics for this level. So, except the map of Africa is alive and attacking them. So, these 4 people, the Conquistadors, the Valencians, Marlebonians, Penguins, they're all here, and they're like, we're gonna take territory from Novus. And for some reason, you decide to help them. So remember that thing about not having a choice in the matter of what you're doing? Your character makes the worst fucking decisions in Novus here. So he's like, yeah, I'm gonna help the Conquistadors take territory.
This game has gone from being nonchalant about colonialism to being actively pro.
Yeah, it's a little weird. So you help the Conquistadors, and they take territory, and that territory becomes an entire banana forest. Like, the trees are made of bananas.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, except it's kind of weird that it's exactly perfect for monkeys, right? Like, monkeys like bananas and stuff. I want banana. I'm a monkey. Ooh, ooh, ah, ah, ah. You can vibe with this, right? So, they're like, okay, this is really cool. I kind of like this. And it turns out, I don't fucking actually know how we find out about this, but the reason this happens is because Novus is just granting people wishes now. So, like, the monkeys want bananas. Boom, banana.
Because it's a new world. It's pregnant with possibility, so will forms reality.
Sure, yeah. That's possibly what's going on. Later, it turns out the scene is, like, involved in it somehow. Like, he can grant wishes now.
He's dead.
No, he's the world now. He is Novus.
Why is this a plot point from 14?
When would this become a plot point? In 16 or 14?
Literally the same year this shit came out.
What? Like in 20? Because Novus came out like a month ago.
Novus came out a month ago? Wait, which one was Lemuria?
Lemuria came out a year ago.
Okay, so Final Fantasy beat it to it.
Okay, no, Final Fantasy finally won. It got a W. You're welcome. So basically, all of Novus is you running around, like running errands for the colonialists that are fucking tearing up territory of Novus. You go to Marley, they call it New Vicorgia or something, and you go to New Vicorgia, and it's like all the it's all fire hydrants. It's just covered in fire hydrants, and they have wells that are just like dog water dishes, everything like that. And then it turns out that like someone put chocolate in the well, and it's poisoning the dogs. And so you go to investigate why that. Yeah.
No, completely.
And you go to investigate what happened, and it turns out it's because a cat was there who made that wish.
Yeah, my boy.
I could kind of based actually, but you have to fight him and kill him and stuff.
Oh no.
And so
I don't like that we have no choice.
Yeah, it's kind of
The
sad.
very clearly oppressed peoples of this world.
Yeah.
Like
So you
we
go.
have to be an oppressor.
Yeah, you're kind of just working with the colonials.
Well, this is how King's Isle clearly thinks.
Yeah.
As demonstrated
Do
by
you not want to help the
practices.
people of Vicorgia solve their chocolate water problem?
I would like to add to it.
So, next you go to the Penguins world, and I don't even remember what that's called, but the Penguins world is like covered in fish. It's like an ice thing covered in fish, and there are like fucking the statue, not the, what the fuck was the thing from Paris, the tower?
Eiffel Tower.
The Eiffel Tower is there, thank you. And then penguin stuff, fish is there. They got croissants just floating around the place, you know. Yeah, and then all of a sudden, more fish starts raining from the sky, and they're like, great, more fish. Although, I don't really like this fish, so I'll go sell it. And then the people of Valencia come in and is like, what the fuck? You can't sell our fish. And then it's like, no, it's our fish. It's from our world. And then Valencia's like, no, but we trade you fish in exchange for your goods. And that, you're basically breaking up our supply chain. And then they're like, but it's our fish. Fuck you. And Valencia's like, No, not Valencia is Italy, by the way.
Can you imagine this level of politics happening in the first arc?
Not really, no. By the way, Valencia is supposed to be Italy, and everyone like has Mario names. Like the guy you follow is literally called Mario de Mario. There's this other character called Princess Pesci.
Oh.
Yeah, like they're going full in on this aesthetic, right? And so Mario de Mario is here, and he's like, Mamma mia, you can't sell this a fish. And this would break up our supply chain. We need... And so, basically, Valencia is going all throughout these other worlds and are like, hey, we give you a banana in exchange for your goods. Now you're getting banana for free. This is not fair. And the Conquistadors are like, fuck you, shut up. Banana,
Wait a second, this is a thematic parallel to the first world and all the Titans.
Oh, is it now? You're figuring it out? So, kind of. It's basically like they start warring with each other, but they can grant wishes, so they just start wishing for bad things to happen to each other.
Oh,
So Valencia starts wishing for, like, Valencia steel to grow all over the trees in the banana forest. And so the Conquistadors are like, no, the trees are corrupted by steel. We can't get to the trees. It's like, ha, Valencian steel, which is stronger than normal steel, I might add. And the Conquistadors are like, fuck you, they're trying to find, like, the Fountain of Youth or whatever from here.
Wait, I know where the fountain is. It's in that one school.
So yeah, this shit's happening. And by the way, Dacine is... You talked to Dacine throughout all this, and Dacine's like, I just thought I could make everyone happy by granting their wishes. I didn't know this would happen. Also, I can't concentrate. I'm a world now, so it's really hard to concentrate on anything. No, I want my Valencians. He's turning into other people, so he turns into Mario de Mario. Is like, no, I want my steel. I'm a greedy. And then he turns into like the Conquistadors are like, ooh, banana.
Oh my god.
And then so this shit starts happening. And then meanwhile, the Cabal is here because the scene is Novus is the scene is the old one, and they're like, maybe we could bring the old one back or something. I don't know.
This whole situation is fucked up.
This is awful.
Why did it take until right now for Wizard 101 to reach peak?
I don't know, but I'm really excited about Wallaroo. Anyways, this shit's happening, right? And you're like, okay. So you keep helping the colonizers, right? And they're like, it's just so weird because it just keeps going on for like 10 hours of you like talking to like Mario de Mario, and they're like, you know what, Mario de Mario, you're right, I am going to kill Dacine. And then you set up all this stuff to kill Dacine, and you walk into Dacine's lair, and he's like, why would you want to kill me? And he's like, and then Mario de Mario talks for you, he's like, you're granting everybody's wishes, it's destroying our supply chain. And then Dacine's like, I see, fuck you, and then you fight, and then you fight Dacine, right? So you fight Dacine for granting everybody's wishes and destroying the supply chains. Tyler's fallen over. He's no longer, he can't see the camera. So the scene, you know, he has this special gimmick where after you kill, because he tries to become everyone's worst fears to fight him or whatever, and so he becomes Bowser because Mario de Mario is afraid of Bowser.
Are you fucking kidding me?
He becomes the Turtle King, right? And he has spells where he throws hammers at people, and then he casts the spell Thor's Hammer on someone, and then when you kill him, he's like extra life, and he comes back to life, and then he casts 4 meteorites onto the field, right? And then he casts 4 volcanoes onto the field. And then you get to continue to fight him. This shit does like a ton of damage to everyone. This is like 5,000 damage everyone has to take when he revives. So the fight's pretty insane. And also, like, why are we fighting Dacine? He's right.
Yeah, he's right.
Yeah. And so you beat Dacine, and he's like, why? I thought I was doing everyone a favor. And then Mario de Mario is like, no, don't you see? If everyone gets their wishes, then no one has any reason to work together. And then the fucking colonizers...
is this?
And then this is what I was thinking during this whole thing. And then the Conquistadors are like, you know what? You're right. We do have to work together. And so they go to war with each other, right? I actually completely forgot why they go to war after this, because the wishes are done. I guess they're just trying to colonize more of Novus or something. It's like, I want more of this land.
How did we degenerate into this? And what happened to the original plot of the movie?
Okay, so here's how we're continuing the plot from now on. There's a war happening on Novus, which is a living thing, and the Cabal is here trying to do something. And the Cabal is right now, we didn't know that the Cabal had a leader anymore. We just thought it was just like an estranged group that was kind of doing stuff. It turns out they're now being led by this guy called, it was like a legendary creature starting with the letter M, like not a mandrake, but like
Manticore?
Manticore. It's being led by someone named the Manticore. And the Manticore turns out to be the butler of Polaris or whatever, right? Of course. The valet.
Wait, what is this group?
The Cabal.
Okay.
Okay, the Cabal is being led by this guy called the Manticore, and the Manticore explains that he wants to try and, like, if everyone is going to war on Novus, and, like, this is people being separate, right? And Decine has all their thoughts in their head about how bad this is being separate. So then he'll want to make everyone join together and create the first world. So that's their idea of what's going on. So they're kind of, like, orchestrating this whole war behind the scenes, right? That's kind of their plan, and to try and get
the Manticore is orchestrating all of this?
The Cabal, but the Manticore is leading the Cabal.
You already know what I'm about to
So,
say.
remember, the Cabal wants to recreate the first world, right? And the Manticore is the leader of the Cabal, so when I say the Manticore wants to do something, the Cabal wants to do it as well. So the Manticore is trying to do all this, because if Decine has a bunch of thoughts of war in his head, he's going to think being separate is bad, being together is good. Let's be together.
Wizard 101 copying Final Fantasy XIV.
So, the old one became Decine when he absorbed the Nothing, and he became the Nothing, right? Then he absorbed the harmonic synthesizer or whatever, and died again, but reformed into something, and that something we saw floating outside was Decine's consciousness or whatever. Don't try to make sense out of it, that's just how it's working right now. Is everything alright?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if I can collect my thoughts, the Manticore wants to do that thing that I said that he wanted to do, and he's trying to do that, so we're trying to stop him to doing that, so we have to fight the Manticore. And the way the Manticore is fighting off against Decine is... He's not fighting against Decine, he's fighting against us, and I don't even fucking remember, but, like, he's manipulating Decine into, like, wanting to recreate the first world, and so Decine's making shadows of Titans or whatever to, like, protect himself from us or whatever. And then we finally reach Decine, and the Manticore's there as well, and it's like, Decine, don't you want to recreate the first world? And then Decine's like, no. And so you fight the Manticore and you win. And that's Novus, everybody. And that's Novus, everyone! Woo! My voice is dead! And that's the end of Wizard 101.
Literally, if they want to save this game, just start it free again at Novus.
Yeah, just start at Novus. Just everyone that jumps into this game starts at Novus would be cool. I would like that. But, so we get a little bit of a teaser on the next world at the end of this. We're like, hey, we saved Novus, and it's a person now, it's sentient, so we should probably not colonize it. Except we did help the colonizers there, I will admit. We kind of pulled an L on that. And so we got
the right idea in the end. Hey,
we got there in the end. You guys are right, colonizing is bad. I figured it out.
You know, this is a big step for Wizard 101.
This is a big step. So... there's this guy from Mirage called Santiago who showed up once there before, and so he shows up again at the end of Novus just to be like an Avengers moment in this fucking game, and he appears in he appears at the end of this whole arc, and he explains, there will be more in Wallaroo. We need you to go to Wallaroo. And right now, all we know about Wallaroo is that there's another Dragon Titan there called Didgeridoo.
Dragon?
There's a dragon in Wallaroo called Didgeridoo, and he's awake, and we don't know what the fuck else is going on there. And also, it's Australia. Walrus,
No.
Australia.
It's a
There
Komodo
was
dragon.
no
It could be a Komodo dragon.
indicator of that at all. Why
Yeah.
would it be
I have no clue what the plot's gonna be. Frankly, I don't care. Novus is peak. I like summoning the fucking improbable gaze.
When do you summon God?
You summon God at the end, near the end of Dragonspire. If you're a life wizard, you get a spell called Regeneration, and God comes down and
The tree
recreates
one?
you. No, not the tree one. The one where it's like literally like a hand comes down from the sky.
Oh.
I
Well,
don't know
that's
why.
the creator that they patched out in the beginning.
Maybe. But they also have one where like you summon like Bartleby and he heals you too. So yeah.
So, what made you want to revisit this as a lecture originally?
You know, I think the spells are really neat. When I was like, I think I said this before. I'll say it again. When I was a kid, nothing was more important to me than learning about what these spells were, what they would do, and I kind of always wanted to unlock all of them, but I couldn't because limited funds or whatever. And so I only made it so far, and I got like my rank 4 spell or whatever. And I always wanted to. There was just such a mystery beyond this of what the other spells were. Like, what would it be like to get this far in the game? What gameplay am I doing exactly? And that's kind of why I wanted to revisit it, because I was so curious. I had this idea as a kid of what this game was, and I only experienced a fraction of it. So I wanted to go back, and I experienced a bigger fraction of it, and decided that it just gets worse. But it's still so, there's nothing more fun in this game than finally unlocking a new spell. The moment I unlocked Orthrus was so satisfying, because I had to go through the fucking 2-hour dungeon again to go meet this guy in the labyrinth and fight him, and I have to do that to unlock that spell. And when I finally did, it was like a part of me from my childhood was finally complete. Because when I first played this game as a kid, this was the ultimate myth spell. There was nothing higher than Orthrus. And now that's not the case. There is. You get Medusa later on, and then you get a Basilisk, and then you summon a Snake Charmer because they forget what myth was for. So, in short, I don't want to play it. But I like it. I like it and I don't want to play it.
How would you recommend if an audience member wanted to engage with Wizard 101 as a media piece to do that? What's the most enjoyable way to consume Wizard 101?
God, I have no fucking clue. Because playing... Okay. Play as much as you can before it gets redundant. First things first. Then once you decide I'm bored of Wizard 101, look up, like, Lemuria level 150 spells or whatever, and just watch people show off the spell animations because they're so cool. Like you get one that's like freeze ray, and like the old one has like a freeze ray, and he like has this whole lab that he just teleports people into and freezes them all, and it's cool. Like in Novus, you get all these weird ass like Asherian spells. Like if you're a storm wizard, you get Tree of Strife, and like you fucking make tea or whatever, but the tea's evil, and it summons a tree that kills you. So good.
Yeah, it sounds like this title does a good job of capitalizing on, like, at least attempting to do good video game magic, because you don't see a lot of that.
Yeah.
So even the fact that the animations for the spells and, like, the gratification you get from getting new spells is appealing to you means that they did something right with this game.
And that's all I needed as a kid, because I just the thought that like one day I could get far enough to get the Minotaur spell, insane, crazy, whoa, and then maybe one day I could get Frost Giant. That blows my mind.
Ezri, can you elaborate on magic not being done well in video games? I haven't heard that before.
Oh, dude. Like, okay, I play a lot of Skyrim.
Yeah.
But also just like, I feel like in a lot of titles it is kind of an afterthought, or it's something that is tacked on. Even like The Legend of Zelda does that a lot, even though I have a lot of really, really positive things to say about that series. But like even then, like the magic involved in it in terms of what the character does is just kind of always like, eh. So it's nice to see that they're like, at the very least, I think my compliment for this is that it seems like they have a magic system that they went all in on instead of like it being something tacked on to something else.
I have to agree, because every time I play a game that has like other games that have magic in it, it's just throw a fireball and then throw a bigger fireball, and I just always get bored with that. Here it's you cast fucking fire cat or whatever. Ooh, a cat that's on fire. You summon fire elf. Ooh, an elf with fire. You summon a phoenix? What the fuck? You summon the Helephant? Which is, why the fuck is a Helephant? You summon fucking a fire dragon that shoots people with fire. You summon a djinn, and the djinn catches people on fire. You summon fucking endless reign of terror and fire on everyone who might oppose you. You summon a fire dinosaur.
Storm spells also feel so good to cast.
Yeah.
Well, they do all that damage and you see that
When they
purple
don't
number
fucking
go up.
fizzle out on you.
Yeah, the gimmick with Storm is that it starts off like it does a lot of damage, but also it has like a 30% chance of not doing anything. So like, but you get equipment that makes your like likelihood of casting a spell go up to the point where like you're guaranteed to cast it. So they had to figure out another gimmick with it. So it's like, okay, maybe it stuns people, and it turns out that was stupid. So they're like, okay, what if you just had low health? And that's kind of what they stuck with.
But the early game, which is the only thing anyone plays, the
Yeah.
feeling of fizzling out in a storm spell is also so enraging.
Yeah. I hope everyone has enjoyed this Wizard 101 lecture.
Thanks for not tricking us this time.
Yeah, this was real. And play Final Fantasy 14, free up to Heaven Sword.
Yes, sir.
Can I have an expo marker so I can do something that I've been
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I don't care.
What is he cooking?
Sounds like the best way to experience Wizard 101 is to play.
What happened? I missed it. What happened?
I thought of it like an hour ago and I couldn't. I was like, when this lecture.
Man, you thought really long and hard about it.